supposed to.
Wop wop.
Yeah, oops.
I'm sure the viewers didn't mind too much. Speaking of, hello viewers. And hello person.
That threw me off. I hear my phone going off behind me. It's like, oh, that's really weird timing. Oh yeah, that's right. I've got Twitch running on my phone. Alright. So...
No, your phone is haunted by the spirit of Twitch and you need to appease it.
So yesterday we were talking about, what time, you know, the British campaign was taking. It's 1942, so they really shouldn't have had, Panzerschrecks yet.
I maintain my statement that it might just be a reused asset or something like that.
Oh, I guarantee it. It's just... Anytime you see people taking, like, history cues from a Call of Duty game, that kind of thing needs to be kept in mind.
German forces having reduced
People
the
take
city
history
to
cues
rubble
from
in a
Call of
massive
Duty
aerial
games?
bombardment.
And ironically, yes.
Heavy resistance as the Soviet
What?
Red Army throws its entire...
There's a reason the Russian, hey, you get the gun, you get the ammo, that and enemy at the gates are where that comes from.
Battle lines have dissolved. The ruins
Propaganda. That was actually a problem in World War I, not World War II.
surrounded by no man's land. The German
Well then.
tactical advantage of the mechanized blitzkrieg and its coordinated...
Tactical advantage of the mechanized blitzkrieg, but they're not talking about the fact that they didn't have a goddamn logistics line that was mechanized.
execution if they
It was horse-powered.
The Soviet troops have no choice.
Yes, but if you
into the blood.
point your enemies out to be lemmings in a real fake war, then
But didn't they have the Luftwaffe?
Yes, actually, and it did really good up until the Soviets started getting their own aircraft back in the air.
and until they ran out of fuel and started using horses.
Like, you know... I don't know. Oh, damn it. I just tried to sprint.
Well, obviously they were thinking that because the term horsepower exists, the best way to get from A to B would be to use that.
That is still my favorite line in the Band of Brothers, by the way. The, hey, you had horses, what were you thinking?
Well, you know, horsepower, electrical power, nuclear power. What do all of these things have in common?
Alright, I can't just shoot the sniper or the machine gunner. I'm probably supposed to do this. Yeah, alright.
Look at all the flashing lights. Oh.
They probably don't want me just, you know, shooting everything.
They're still doing a damn good job of shooting through the smoke.
Hey, I actually understood what he was yelling at me.
Oh, gun out.
No, he yelled something about communist swine and some other shit.
How rude.
And that communist one is going full hog on him anyway.
That's because I'm the protagonist.
One day, part of me wants to see a game where the characters in the game recognize the fact that there's a main character.
Have you played The Secret World? Because that is actually a plot point. The game The Secret World?
Well, yeah, but... I mean a little bit more, so...
Oh, I know. That was still one of my favorite moments. The guy's like, look, I know you respawn. I'm not going to kill you. It would kind of make you come back quicker. I'm going to knock you out and lock you in this room instead.
Nice. I mean more like enemy cannon fodder just going, oh god, it's the main character, run away.
It's Combat Zero does that.
Nice.
And Halo on lighter difficulties.
Actually, the grunts will panic at you even on higher difficulties. Like, if you kill all the elites really quick, they start freaking out and losing their shit.
I mean, they're also the grunts. They're kind of known for being cannon foddery.
Yep.
Well, so Brownstone encounters people and Immortal recognizing the protagonist, appearing.
I'm the guy
Just
that
like in a room of cookie cutter office employees, there's one person with bright pink hair, and just that person going up to you saying, "Yeah, you're."
Oh, for fuck's sake! God damn it, people!
Of the second person walking to your line of fire.
No, even better.
Clearly, Private Romanovsky, greatest hero of the show, greatest hero of the Wehrmacht.
That doesn't sound quite right.
Yeah, but he's been getting more kills than half of the German army in that match, in that fight so far.
Excuse me, could you please die? What the hell is that?
What if they don't want to?
Were you seeing that? That was weird.
A bit, yeah.
Also, where is that bolt action? Got a thing for bolt actions. I'm gonna tell you right now, this section is a gigantic pain in the ass on higher difficulties.
I have never played the game, I think I have to take your word for it.
Well, you can see it's like, oh, shit.
They're coming everywhere. And in the walls.
For some reason that just reminded me of Pink Floyd.
I'm not entirely sure why the Germans had a machine gun position overlooking their own guys, but...
Clearly it was by order of the Commissar. Because this is actually Warhammer 40k and totally not a real world situation.
I so miss the days when Warhammer was actually a spoof and not people unironically trying to be edgelords.
I think I never ran into it before that point changed.
Like, 2nd edition had fucking Judge Dredd fighting for the Imperium.
Oh dear.
They were called Arbiters, but... it was Judge Dredd. I'm playing Rainbow Six Siege, so I keep walking shooting through soft cover, and it's not gonna work.
Do you
Alas.
keep finding yourself pressing Q and E to lean as well?
I can lean, it's just really kinda garbage. And you
I
can't
never
move.
really found the lean option very useful in a lot of games, honestly.
In Siege, it's
It was
really
there
good.
and it was nice, but
Like, you'll abuse the shit out of it in Siege, but... That's because Siege also has a time to kill of, like... Oops, somebody shot me in the head. I don't think that's how, chimneys are supposed to work. Alright. That is like the tankiest goddamn German.
well, I mean, you know what they say about German armor.
It falls apart if you hit it with HE.
That too!
He's yelling things at me again.
We're reading you loud and clear, Cobra Козлов. Well done. Wait. Hold on a moment. Ребята, они прорвались там! Да!
I don't like that they do this. Like, you know, either have them yell in Russian and just give me subtitles, or have them stick with English. Don't sit there and mix and match it.
But how else will you know which lines are important?
Yeah, when the director that you have the auto-translate function.
Well, like, I'm fine with that. Like, that's a gameplay abstraction, but don't sit there and mix and match because it does. I don't know. It always annoyed me. Yeah, see, like in a situation like this, a Molotov, we just chuck Molotovs at it and burn the engine out. Like, if you suffocate a tank, it stops running. Go figure.
Not like Molotovs are hard to make either.
Well, I mean, it is Russia, and apparently, as we all know, Russians live off of vodka, so they can't really sacrifice too much of it.
Like, no, joking is no joke. The Russians were pretty happy to chuck Molotovs at the Germans.
Even when your way of sustenance relies mostly on potatoes, I imagine vodka's gonna be a big product as well.
Oat vodka's better anyway.
Clearly, then, it was actually a cultural exchange.
The
Germans bring their tank, the Russians bring their vodka.
So this is an interesting thing. There's
that
multiple.
tank had a glowy bit.
It's actually got multiple glowy bits. The idea is that you can disable it multiple ways, and it actually dies differently depending on how you knock it out.
Is it bad that part of me hopes someone watching these streams actually thinks I'm being serious?
That would be funny. If I remember right, if you knock the tracks out, one of your dudes jumps up on top and pries the hatch open. That might be later, though. I don't remember for sure.
I was gonna say, I take it there's no way to actually appropriate the tank.
Realistically, probably not. Like,
Oh, all the time.
here's the thing: is that's actually why you've got the burn rates you do on a lot of tanks. Is both sides had a habit of
not wanting the other side to have their tank.
So what they would do is if the crew ditched the tank because of a penetrating hit, because he didn't want to be in a tank after it had a round go through it, you'd shoot at the tank until it lit on fire. I mean, it's good sense. I'm not gonna... Oh, alright.
I'd say, watch off the streets are your enemies.
So, on a side note, I actually do like that they tried to make smokes realistic by making them all slow and everything like that. However, there's a reason video games don't generally bother... Alright. I was gonna say, there's a reason games don't usually bother with it, that's because it's a pain in the ass to the player. Like, there's a multiplayer component to it, and sure, but...
But usually they make it quicker because there's a multiplayer component to it.
And if you're talking, well, depends on the game. Like Rainbow Six Siege does the quicker smokes, but that's because it's a quicker game, and
Rising Storm does it, it tries to be quote unquote realistic.
Rising Storm does alright with it. Yeah, see, so you knock out the tread, and I guess it just arbitrarily explodes. Alright.
I mean, what else would you do? You knocked out its mode of transport itself. I guess it better kill itself then.
Well, I mean, it's a Panzer II. It was actually a good German tank. Not as good as the PZ-38, which was Czechoslovakian, but
I'm worried.
What? A good German tank?
Panzer IV was good up until they overloaded the damn thing because it was getting turned inside out by Shermans.
Yeah, more or less, but...
I'm just more worried how deep you have to stick your arm into those threads to get deep enough with the explosive for that result.
Now, dynamite against the treads like that's gonna fuck up the treads one way or the other.
Oh yes, the threads, but you blew up the entire tank on the threads.
Yeah, that tells me... what am I stuck on? Okay, okay. Alright. Oh, I'm getting stuck on that. Really? Alright. I got all the dumb shit you can get stuck on.
Usually it's something at your feet.
Oh, wait. No, alright. Okay, so I wasn't remembering this wrong. That is a shitty way to die, by the way.
Or getting shot in the cabin, or... Oh, grenade. You're gonna have some very terrifying seconds before everything's over.
Okay, so I wasn't remembering that wrong. I was really sure I was thinking of the wrong game or something after it didn't happen the first 2 times. Oh, this mission, I remember this one. That's not a good thing.
Oh, really?
This way! Let's go!
Why is it not a good thing that you remember something?
Good luck, comrades.
Georgiev. And then bombers are flying super low there. Guys, we had the high ground. Why didn't we just chuck a grenade? Apparently it's not going to let me chuck a grenade either, by the way.
But grenades are the Christmas gift you try to save for your kids when you get home again.
I remember this being so impressive, because...
The fact that you could have that high ground after all those games where you couldn't even look down or up that easily.
No, if you look, you'll see it. More of them show up.
Oh, the bullet holes. And the lighting.
Yep.
So shouldn't be concerned about the fact that you're going down pipelines with the turret yet? I'm wondering how much of it might have been intentional.
Side note, the propaganda happening in the background was a real thing. Most of the Russians knew it was actually a load of bullshit. Kinda like Tokyo Rose in Vietnam, nobody actually paid attention to them.
But they did become a war criminal.
Now it lets me use grenades. And it's only after they just arbitrarily run off, even though they didn't actually see the grenade.
They walked as if they were in a firefight.
So this was another multiplayer map. I actually like this multiplayer map.
Also, wasn't the fight in that city known for having like a single active player playing in the background during the silent moments? Or is that what? Oh, is that
Honestly,
just
I'm
one
not.
of those
No,
Wartime maps?
I'm honestly not sure.
Now the question is, what did they hide other than big hole here?
Fortunately, my grasp for Russian ends at like,
But yeah, 2 hit.
yeah, like very limited stuff. Ah, in his head, not his ass. That was a good throw. And I would be completely and utterly fucked if that was an actual thing. Like, frag grenade in this confined to space, I would be dead.
Looking at the Fireflies, I would be surprised if they just expanded before any of the class takes you. And yes, I am joking.
This is a super serious stream. How could you?
Yes, I need the back from forgiveness.
We're not playing the Germans, you can't have a sense, or we're playing against the Germans, I guess you can't have a sense of humor. Do I want other guns? Yes, I do.
Well, I mean, used to be able to, but not anymore.
Listen, Germany is no laughing matter.
What are you talking about? Of course it is.
Sorry, German humor.
Yeah, I don't think medic is gonna help.
What are you talking about? Medics can patch up anything.
They can bring you from 1 HP to 100.
I like how they go out of their way to like, why can't I pick up my SVT ammo for SVT ammo? There's some old school programming for you. It's a different gun. You can't have other ammo for a different gun.
Rip.
Oh, this isn't even a. Never mind. This isn't an SVT. This is a Gewehr.
That'll do the trick too.
Oh,
Maybe
sure.
that'll answer the question you posed the other day, like why not the Sten? Clearly it was to make it so the ammo calibers would be incompatible with other guns.
I could totally see that. Except for you know what? I forgot to look that up. I swear that the Sten got modified to accept MP40 bags, though.
Obviously it's just conveniently a little bit too early in the war for that.
And this SMG in multiplayer was a damn monster. So was the Pasha, though. Like, oh yeah, 70 round, 1 rounds? Fuck it.
Trust me, that won't change in World at War.
No,
That's
World at War is the
painful.
best. World at War, it was still the MP40.
For all distances, but anything remotely resembling close quarters, that Pasha became a nightmare.
Yeah, but the game, please. Thank you.
Or at least when you unlock the gun magazine.
You know, as much as they like their own weird shit into this game, I'm surprised the ABT wasn't in here.
The ABT?
An automatic rifle that was based on the SVT and was such a phenomenal piece of shit that nobody liked using it.
Did that one make it into Red Orchestra?
It did. That was how the devs claimed to balance out the fact that the Germans had non-existent weapons in the Eastern Theater.
Well then.
Like, I'm not entirely joking. They consider the ABT as good as the Stag, even though... I'm sorry, the MKB-42. It's like, that was why I don't like, we used to have the joke that the devs were wereaboos because they were giving the Germans far better equipment when, you know, the Russians also had good equipment they could be using. And they claim, oh, it wasn't present at this battle, and it's like, well, the MKB wasn't present at this battle either. And definitely not in the quantities you're signing them out in. But, like, if you're gonna do that kind of thing...
Not to mention, they span over various battles, so that argument is already null and void.
Well, the interesting thing they could have done is that, like, since it's asymmetric warfare anyway, they could have had the Russians, rifleman class have SMGs as well. Because...
They handed those things out like candy.
No, like, literally, there were 6 Papushas per K98K that the Germans used. And there was ammo for everybody. The Russians learned their lesson from World War I.
But then you got that
get ammo,
myth.
and you get ammo, and you get ammo.
But then you get stuff like that myth where... Oh no, the Russians were in so deep that they didn't have enough ammo for everyone in the squad. And there would be 1 gun for every 2 people.
That's actually in Call of Duty 1. I was in both Call of Duty 1 and an Enemy at the Gates.
So that's where the myth got perpetrated, or?
Further? I get the distinct feeling I'm not actually supposed to be where I'm at right now.
You mean getting shot from every single angle in existence?
Just like, yeah, I'm, like, killing enough people that I'm running low on ammo. That's a bad sign. Yeah, no shit, Captain. A little fucking busy here. Like, that kind of thing makes me understand the line from Company Heroes with the airborne. Click on them when they're under fire, they're like, we're a little fucking busy!
Could you possibly imply that you have something better to do?
Fighting a war, you know.
Yeah, I get this feeling the game didn't think I would just run straight into the middle of their line and can, like, gun everything down. The game's not usually so cruel as to stuff like a billion enemies down your throat that quick. Of course, they are willing to throw like a billion grenades at you, so maybe I'm wrong. Hey, he's a chatty one, wasn't he?
Oh, not anymore.
Oops! Found the bad guys.
I think they found you as well.
But if I recall correctly, the German grenade was a 16-pound explosive with no frag sleeve by default. Because we were kind of talking about that a little bit yesterday.
Okay, so 16 pounds compared to the American pineapple is how much?
Pineapple grenades only had like a half-pound of explosive because you don't need that much when you're just trying to throw shrapnel around the room.
Yeah, because they were like all explosives. But like, I thought those German grenades were also meant to come with a little
Some of them,
handle at the bottom.
the handle is there, and you actually arm the German grenade. I wish I could show you. I'll look for one on the ground.
I don't have anything to handle, no?
You unscrew the cap at the bottom and pull a cord out.
And you can throw by the cord then.
I would not suggest trying to throw it by the cord. I don't remember that much more about the grenade outside of it not being the greatest grenade.
Yeah, just remember.
I mean, it's pretty hard to be the greatest grenade when there can only be one of them.
Well, I just mean, like, the American pineapple grenade, the British frag grenades, the Japanese had better frags. High explosive on its own is not a great way to, like, don't get me wrong, it's still dangerous, I'm not...
Well, it's probably better suited for special operations where you might need versatility.
Not even that. Like, if you Google, like, effective kill range on the Mark IIs, frag sleeve grenades are a lot more threatening.
Oh no, but I meant more like at that point it's not even anti-infantry anymore. Just
It
an
is.
explosive you shove in somewhere.
Like I said, 16 pounds of explosives, nothing to, like, sneeze at or anything, but...
Well done, comrades. That should take
What is it, like a quarter block of C4 is about 4 pounds of explosive? 8 pounds of explosive? Something like that?
station house.
I'd have to look it up. And we'll go ahead and finish off Fortress Stalingrad.
Ah, so they saved some of the music for World at War.
Oh, we have
Any
another
person? You aren't seen. Beware.
January 2nd, 1943. Surrounded on all sides by Soviet forces, the German Sixth Army at Stalingrad continues to crumble in the absence of a desperately needed supply line. Many German soldiers trapped in the city, who are now literally starving and running out of ammunition, continue to fight.
Yeah, why don't you tell us why the Germans are afraid of what the Soviets are about to do to them?
The fighting amongst the firebombed ruins.
Come on, military channels. You can talk about their war crimes.
Soviet infantry continue to retake Stalin.
How about, like, all the Soviets that died in the concentration camps? Maybe the various atrocities committed against Soviet civilians? No? Alright.
Comrades, the fascists have
That'd be too graphic for a game like this. This kids playing Call of Duty games. Come
Like,
on,
don't get me wrong, like, I've got no love for the Soviets, they were awful people too, but... I've mentioned it before, I hate that games do this, where they don't... It's whitewashing history.
Where they pretend only one side did something wrong when they have something to fear from the other side.
Yeah, like, straight up, like, the Soviets' retaliation against the Germans was pretty atrocious. But it wasn't as bad as what the Germans did on their way in.
And then you get the Dutch. We retaliated against ourselves once we got liberated.
retaliated against yourselves. I beg your
Yep.
pardon.
We need to watch Band of Brothers, Selena. Because it actually covers part of that.
A small part, but it shows that it is there.
What exactly happened to prompt that? I'm rather curious now.
People trying to sleep with people of the Wehrmacht being considered traitors, and even if they're doing it for the resistance.
As I said, my understanding was that a couple of resistance people got pinged with it, and it's like, but
Yeah. Both resistance and the people that just try to get one up on the rest.
Well,
I do not like these kind of things where
It's not the base side of the Dutch. Go on.
I probably have some more interesting things to share, but being from Australia, other than the Anzacs, we don't have a ton of interesting stories.
there was the Aussie commandos that pissed the Japanese enough to get a samurai's, pissed the Japanese off to get a samurai dead.
I'll have to look
We
some
hate you enough to give you this thing where we only tend to do it for people that... Like what, did they have a second person ready or something?
So what happened is they beheaded him. What happened is that the commandos like snuck in and blew up a ton of shit, and the Japanese executed him when they caught him because they didn't want to leave a guy behind. Other than that, Anzac troops, the Diggers, did some pretty good stuff in the Pacific Theater. You don't hear a lot about it, but
Yeah, it's because it was relatively quote-unquote minor, and we're not one of the major participants in the war, so... Hell, we don't hear much about it, to be completely honest. Outside of the Anzac storming the beach at Gallipoli, we almost hear nothing.
I always thought that was kind of interesting, but what are you gonna do?
Don't worry. I lived in a town where the Dutch actually fought the Germans, and that's almost never mentioned in the history classes either, that we actually fought back for a bit. It was just quote-unquote minor resistance until they bombed Rotterdam, and then we decided to not let our cities get bombed any further.
Rotterdam was one of the reasons that the Bomber Harris had the policy he did, which was, for the quote, the Germans had this naive belief that they would bomb indiscriminately, like...
Bomb nations into submission.
Now, if you Google it, Google the quote, it's an interesting quote, but it was effectively just, the Germans had this naive idea that they were going to bomb people and not going to get bombed back, and turns out we've got a better bombing program.
And, you know, even when you bomb populated cities, they usually still have a weapons factory there.
They have superior German engineering on their side.
Oh,
what
God.
could these people possibly do?
You should get, people started on Dresden, because Dresden's a great one to piss off Wehraboo's with.
Okay, the quote you were mentioning, you mean the Reaper Whirlwind?
Yeah, that's part of it.
So seeds into the wind.
The whole quote's something like they had this naive idea that they would bomb people and not be retaliated against, basically. I'm pretty sure the word naive actually gets used.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I talk a lot of shit about it, but I actually... part of my family comes from Germany, and funny fact, my grandfather is an electrician, so... To a degree, even though he doesn't talk about it that often, there is a certain sort of respect for German civil engineering in our family, but not so much military.
Did I just die to a... Oh, okay. I think I just died to a friendly grenade.
To be fair, they,
Holy shit! Oh, god damn!
What just happened?
oh wow.
Oh! They just grabbed a few handfuls, didn't they?
Yeah, that was a thing.
How are you not dead again?
Just got good.
Got good.
Got good, stayed alive. Perfect reason.
I don't know, Soviet stuff was pretty interesting, like the dinner plate DP-28 that you see was designed by Vasily Zaitsev, the sniper from Enemy at the Gates. But some of the stuff that the Soviets did, like the LMGs that were on top, or the, well, I guess NMGs, whatever. They were set up so that after a tank got destroyed or disabled or whatever, it was supposed to be easy for the crew to, for the infantry to strip down and use the weapon still. So it had quick release stuff on the machine gun and whatnot. And like I said, there was a Russian commander that liked the Shermans that they had from the Lend-Lease program, and he talked about knocked out Shermans. They would go strip they'd go strip the fake leather out of the seats and use them as boots because it was such soft leather compared to what they had.
I mean, who else can say that who else can say that their boots are made out of tank? Would you want the boots made out of tank? Even if it's just a seating?
No, use some of the steel from it and cap it as well.
Oh, alright. When he said get away from the tank, he was not, yeah. But yeah, at this point in the war, the Soviets had gotten over the purge. Oh, alright. That's clearly not far enough away from the window. See, this kind of arbitrary shit always kind of annoyed me. Of course, that fucker's not gonna stick his head out in time for me to do it. At this point, you had Zhukov? I don't remember the commander. Had started implementing like deep strategy and better morale practices and things like that.
Once I realized that high morale actually helps with fighting efficiency.
Yeah, turns out if you guys... And the thing is a lot of the Soviets were kinda pissed at the Germans. It wasn't too hard to get people wanting to fight them. So, I mean...
Especially since considering that the Germans tried to initiate their war with a sneak assault, didn't they?
Not as much as you'd think, but you should look up, like, General Plan Ost if you want to see why, they wanted to exterminate all the Slavs and replace them with Germans. Let's just leave it at that. A lot of Soviets died in the concentration camps alongside gypsies, Jews, gays, lesbians.
Yeah, that's always the thing that confused me about people talking about the people that died at the camps.
That's where...
I know that they're majority, but they always only mention one group.
I know a ton of Soviets died there too. Don't even... But the thing is like, that's where you hear a lot of the Holocaust and ours. Well, you know, if there were that many dead, where are they? And it's like, well, a lot of them were Soviets or gypsies or...
And a lot of them were burned.
Like, the Germans have admitted it, guys.
Clearly then you'd have ash covering the ground of all of these concentration camps, because it has to go somewhere.
That sounded more grim than it
Yeah.
should have that tone.
I mean, there's no such thing as a columbarium or anything. There's no such thing as soil to store it in.
And... continue mission. Hey guys, it's snowing in Stalingrad!
Whoops.
1943, so we're on the verge of the counterattack at this point.
I'm just waiting for you to get a proper DP dinner plate. So you can...
I don't think they exist in this one.
Aww. I know they do in World at War at least.
Like I said, they... Multiplayer had an FG-42, so I don't know... Honestly, if I get a DP-28, I'm probably gonna go find like a voice or a soundboard for Tachanka, and just every time I start shooting it, just start blasting LMG loaded.
Well, supposedly Call of Duty 2 had a DP-28, at least the multiplayer.
It might have. I just
You
don't
aren't
remember.
making fun of the Lord and Savior Tachanka, are
Oh.
you?
Oh, Tachanka's great.
I was looking at a bad mod. Sorry.
And CQC is...
you landed?
I have no indoor voice!
I wish I could use them more.
You can. Doesn't mean you get good results.
Yeah, he's not a good character. He's fun to play with, though. Like, don't get me wrong, I like screwing with him.
I hope they won't take him out, though.
They were talking about, like, replacing him or whatever, and yeah, I don't know.
It sounds like a horrible idea. Why not just completely rework it?
They don't.
That's what they're saying, is it's a complete rework at that point, not just kind of a rework. And part of the problem is that they want to keep he's supposed to be, like, an old codger. Because he's only like 2 years younger than Thatcher, and Thatcher's like fucking 70.
Okay, so if they do completely rework him until he's someone else, they have to have a lot of dinner plate references or something like that, or making some accessibly posh nobleman.
Honestly, if they're gonna go with the heavy machine gunner guy, I wouldn't mind seeing like a PKP the Chang as his gadget and just leave it at that, but they're not gonna do that because they gave Maestro the idiot-proof gun.
What?
The what?
Maestro's LMG is damn close to idiot-proof. You can hit fire at close range or use the ACOG at longer ranges.
Even semi-reliably uses hipfire at medium range.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
Alone if you put on a red dot.
They were talking that they wanted to make all of the LMGs that way so that LMGs had a better niche, but...
But at that point they become the meta.
They had some kind of suppression mechanic.
They do, but it's not a mechanic. Like, you don't want to poke your head out if someone keeps firing, and if you use an LMG, you can just keep firing until you fired about 30 bullets.
I wish
Then you stop, then some people start peeking.
I wish the devs would go play America's Army 2 and see how they did it, because LMGs in that game were pretty terrifying. The idea in that one is that if a bullet whizzed past your head, your dude lost his shit a little bit, and if multiple bullets were going past your head, your dude wasn't going to aim anytime soon.
Do you also get your screen a bit grayed out or blurred?
Yeah, it actually forces your aim down and fucks with it and everything like that. But flashbangs also did that.
I think they took that mechanic over for Arma 3.
Well, and flashbangs in that game are super goddamn dangerous. Because what they do is they fuck your aim up. You know, they blind you and everything, but they adjust your aim after you're blinded.
But you still need to get your aim back.
But after the blind effect goes away, you've got an after image of whatever you were looking at when you were blinded. For a little while.
So, a little bit like those light spots you get when you look at something bright for a moment.
Yeah, and supposedly that's actually a realistic representation of flashbangs.
I could see that.
I think it was Drinks a lot was talking about it. It might have been another goon, but like retired military was saying that it was actually an accurate flashbang thing. The other thing is flashbangs fuck up your sense of balance really bad. That's what the bang part is.
I was gonna mention, what about the concussive of it?
A lot more threatening than in most games.
Problem in Siege, like, they are threatening if they work, but they're so unreliable.
And like, even if you don't get caught, but even if you miss the flash, the concussion part of it, or the deafening part of it, it doesn't linger as long if you don't get blinded.
Maybe it could cause the person who got hit their ears to ring, which kind of deafens them a little bit, so you can sneak up on them.
If they did that for a little bit longer, then they would already be more viable, because that gives you an opportunity to quickly relocate.
Well, that's like Lion's big thing, is Lion's biggest bonus isn't that he spots people now, it's that he deafens the enemy. You can sneak up on people while it's going off. I still think Lion's terrible, but...
But with a communicating team, he makes it a lot easier for the rest of the team.
Comrade Sniper!
I'm gonna quickly grab back.
My daddy! God, what game was that?
Let's move out! No time to waste!
This is a map in multiplayer, and I think this is also a map in Red Orchestra. I'm pretty sure this was one of the better maps in Red Orchestra. Alright then.
First floor is clear!
Alright.
Get down! German sniper! Good, now wait for Pavel to get that bastard's attention. Pavel, do it. Yes, comrade. Third floor, left building. He's dead. Good shot, comrade. Well done.
See, this is kind of an actually interesting mission, and this one always stood out to me when I was playing it as a kid. Like, this is kind of a neat breakup of the thing, and it's kind of reminiscent of, oh god, what was the mission called? All Ghillied Up?
From Modern Warfare?
Yeah.
do need to get that game remastered.
I kind of want to get the remastered version, but not enough to pay $30 for it, so...
It's not high priority right now.
I've still got the original one, and I'm good enough for that.
The difference only just a little bit of a graphical upgrade.
It probably plays a little bit differently, too, because it's a different engine.
Ground floor is clear! Top floor clear!
So,
The building is secure, comrade! Prepare for their counterattack!
interesting thing here is the, wrapping on the scope and all that.
Stick with me! I will be right back!
It's to break up the scope's outline, so it's harder to spot Soviet sniper, blah blah blah. Thing about the Soviet sniper rifle is, or the scope, is that it actually makes you sit up pretty high. And that's why the Finnish sniper didn't use a scope, is because it made it harder to blend in.
What, they just eyeballed it?
Yeah, dude legitimately picked up something like 500 kills with a bolt action and iron sights. I can never get the guy's name right, but he's the Soviets called him the White Death. They actually, like, literally flattened a fucking forest trying to kill him with artillery.
I know what the female sniper that the Soviets had, that was really famous.
She... supposedly her kill count was inflated, because I've heard anywhere between, like, 90 to 300. Which is interesting, because, like, you know, there's other cool female Soviets out there, like the Night Witches, which did what amounts to damn close to suicide missions. Because they were flying, like, Il-2s and shit at night, and bombing German positions.
This actually, the whole controversy with the new Battlefield game was confusing. It's just all these neat female soldiers. Why'd you pick the one group that didn't have any female soldiers on the front lines?
Because it doesn't fucking matter. Battlefield's nowhere near fucking realistic. Like, if you hear anybody complaining about the realism in the game, ask them why they're not upset about all the Steg 44s or the V1 rocket actually hitting its target. Like, both of those things are pretty funny on their own. It's a Battlefield game. Unless somebody wants to tell me about the time Private Jenkins took a Jihad Jeep and blew up a Tiger tank, I don't give a shit about what they do in the game.
I was interested in the sandbagging mechanic.
It's interesting. It's kind of a pain in the ass, though.
I wish more games would give options to soldiers like that.
Like, it's not terrible or anything like that, but it's also not anything special. Especially since you're guaranteed to have enemy assaults on the enemy team, and the Panzerfaust, Dynamite, all that just instantly blows it up. The supports carrying landmines can just throw it against it and blow it up. I mean, it's a minor nuisance at best. But it does kind of force the enemy to do dumb things sometimes, so... I don't know.
I just appreciate anything that makes you feel like you're playing a character in an actual place and not a person in a room that has different wallpaper.
Battlefield's the wrong game for that. Battlefield's about doing dumb shit to dumb people. Like, I enjoy... Oh, god damn it. See, this mission now is kind of pissing me off, because it's like... Alright, come on. We're playing with the goddamn puppies. I don't care if he's deploying right now. You dumb shits aren't covering me. Yeah, this is a multiplayer map in Red Orchestra 2. This is one where if you get in the right place with the DP-28, you can just completely ruin the enemy. To be fair, you can do it with the German MGs too, but it's a lot more satisfying to do it as the Soviets in that game.
I kind of still wish games would do more of stuff like Arma does, where you hold Alt and turn your head.
Is there ammo anywhere? Okay, alright.
How often did they actually use their half-track Soma cars for fish attacks?
Mechanized Germans, probably quite a bit. I mean, that's kind of the advantage of that kind of thing.
The fascists are giving up their fight! The Germans are falling back! Run, you cowards!
I think this map would be better if you had, say, give you some kind of like claymore or mine or something.
At this point in the war, it would have been the Bouncing Betty, probably.
Well, yeah, I mean, something period specific. I mean, something you could set up traps for your flank.
And I'm back. What did I miss?
The Battle of Stalingrad.
Oh, I missed the entire battle. Seems I've overslept a little.
June 11th, 1944. Only a few miles east of the American landing beaches in Normandy, France, British Commonwealth forces struggled to capture the main
Yeah, it wasn't just the British there, guys.
It is here that they are faced with the superior firepower of elite panzer divisions arrayed along the German
Elite, maybe a misnomer.
To break the stalemate, the veteran desert rats of the 7th Armored Division are sent into the hedgerows of Normandy. Their mission? Probe the western flank of the German defenses and clear a path to the city of Caen.
So here's the thing. Rommel pissed away a lot of veteran troops in Africa. And I do mean literally pissed them away because Manstein, whatever, flat out told us, like, look, if you go over in Africa, the Allies are going to cut off your supply lines and you're going to get fucked and lose a lot of people. And that's kind of what happened. It's crazy, isn't it?
Let's go!
Didn't Rommel want to pull out though?
No, Rommel was not a great commander. Like, he wasn't a bad commander either, but past the field level, he was not too. He had the same flaws as Patton, and he didn't have the supply line to make up for it like we did.
He only saw the battles, not the campaign.
Basically, I don't even know if I'd go that far. He didn't have a good grasp on logistics. And we were talking about this last night, but seriously, you're not supposed to hold the stand this way. It actually breaks the gun. I've always kind of found it interesting that so many games presented it that way.
I think the History Channel itself at some point tried to suggest that's how you hold the gun.
Oh, there were people that held it that way, but they caused feed errors. So basically, you jam your gun.
Since you keep making it that'll unlock against the loading point, whatever you want to call it.
See, and I will give them credit. This is another one of those things where you don't hear a lot about it, because when you think Khan, you usually think the 101st. At least out here. I don't know about elsewhere, but you don't hear about the British involvement out here as much.
I don't hear much about Canadian participation either.
You really don't. The Canadians definitely did quite a bit in the war, so I've always found that interesting too.
Everybody wanted credit, and one was the most hurt.
It's probably a case of the amount of troops.
Oh, in general, you don't hear about the British Commonwealth troops and like as a whole, which kind of goes back to the you don't hear about the Aussies that often.
Like, it's usually either pronounced as Allied Forces or Americans.
I don't know, you hear about the Brits a lot too, like I kind of talk about that. That was one of my biggest issues with the Extra Credits Histories guys, is that they didn't cover a lot of things that they should have been covering when they're talking about like the history of D-Day and things like that. But that's a different kind of nerdery. I don't know. Well, I don't know. We're not really talking about much anyway. Basically, that was a terrible series, and the fact that they didn't even remotely approach a lot of the truth of it all. Oh, hey, good throw.
But approach a lot of troops that participated.
Yeah, it's just they could have done more.
Is that a problem they have overall, or is it just that particular one?
They try to make it a story to sell, even if it's at the cost of accuracy.
Well, and the biggest issue is they've been called out on their bad history before, because some of their sources are out of date or inaccurate or whatever, and they get pissy if you tell them, hey, you should probably be using this as a source, not that. They've been busted a few times just outright making shit up to fit a narrative. One of the Roman time ones was one that somebody else brought up to me, where they blended multiple people together to make a plot, rather than the actual thing that happened. And you know what, like, hardcore history has also got that same problem where you've got too many people not realizing they're not actual historians, and I know that Dan Carlin at least tries to disavow it and say, look, I'm not actually a historian, but
It's still one of the few sources some people take in, and that's what they then end up thinking of as fact.
basically,
And a lot of people seem to have difficulty mentioning that they might not be certain or they heard it there. And then you get other people thinking it's a fact.
But it's kind of funny because I shitpost all the time, and even I admit it's like, yeah, look, take my sources with a grain of salt. If I can find the sources, I'll link them, kind of thing. Like, shitposting the Steel Division forums was the first time in a long time I actually bothered to make sure I had my sources down so that I could throw them at people. Because them wereaboos, man, they were... He didn't leak a source, your information's wrong.
I mean, they gotta have every excuse possible to claim that they are in fact correct. But I gotta wonder, how many sources are they citing?
Well, they use sources that have long since been disproven and things like that.
Or they use trash?
Pretty much. Like, a lot of them like to use death traps still, even though death traps has long been disproven as kind of, not historical so much as just memoirs. Which
Interesting.
interested me when I was reading Sherman's memoirs, where he admits up front, like, look, these are memoirs, these are out of my own memory. I'm writing this because I think it'll be a neat companion piece to historians, but don't expect everything to be 100% accurate because it's my memory.
God, honesty.
Sherman, seriously, is one of my favorite people to study. Just, the dude was real fascinating.
Just a shame that
From what
he
you mentioned,
suffered.
he was probably pretty down to earth as well.
So far in the book, there's been some pretty funny moments. He went to West Point, which on its own is kind of interesting, but he lost points because he refused to clean his uniform regularly and didn't keep his beard trimmed. Which, if you've ever seen photos of the guy, he always looks kind of disheveled. So... it was kind of interesting seeing that. There was moments like somebody stole his over and under shotgun, and he was actually upset enough about it that next time he went to California, he went to get it, and the guy's like, well, you can't prove it was your gun, and I'm keeping it.
Nice.
There's a moment where some officer was complaining about him to Lincoln, and Lincoln looks at the guy and goes, I think this man's a liar, because I'm pretty sure if Sherman threatened to shoot you, he'd actually shoot you. So, the memoir is pretty neat so far.
You're making it sound like it reads like a storybook at this point.
It's a little dry, but...
I say we slot a sod in lot of them.
Hold your fire, that's an order!
Whatever you say, sir.
McGregor, get over here! You remember that German lorry we passed over to the east? We do, sir. Get it working and bring it here. Sergeant Davis.
It would have been interesting if they gave you the names of the surrounded Germans as well.
Will do, sir.
What was that? I didn't hear it, sorry.
There might be more Jerry's out there.
Would have been nice if they gave you the names of the surrounded Germans as well.
Oh, right, alright.
Do you get a mission failure by the way if you end them, or?
Probably, because it gets pissy at you if you accidentally shoot a guy that walks near your line of sight.
This way, Davis!
We were talking earlier about the Germans not wanting to get captured or get taken by the Russians. I remember listening to a documentary about how the Germans citizenry towards the end were hoping the Americans would get to them first before the Russians.
Yep, that was a thing.
More than a few German POWs actually elected enough to move to the States after the war, too. Because basically what we did was we parked their ass out in the middle of nowhere, like Idaho, on a farm, and told them, hey, look, you work the farm, and good luck getting anywhere because you don't speak enough English to escape. That was pretty much it.
I mean, that is literally giving someone a new life as well in a peaceful area, so...
By all accounts, they were treated pretty well, and,
Also helps rehabilitating people, just doing honest labor.
this feels oddly quiet, like it shouldn't be this quiet. I wonder if I broke something. It is weird not seeing my gun move. It's like perfectly still. That is so weird looking to me.
I mean, even in Doom you're used to your gun moving up and down.
Oh, we're back to the famous British always have to escape in a vehicle with a rocket launcher part of the game. That was in COD 1, that was in COD 2, and I'm pretty sure it's in COD 4, so...
With a German rocket launcher.
Was it Modern Warfare too?
But here's the interesting thing, is at this point in the war, I think they had modified the Panzerschreck to not require the blast shield.
thought there was two different types of... I thought it was the Panzerfaust at that point.
No, this would have... Panzerfaust was the first one. They stole a bazooka and realized bazooka was a better design and made the Panzerschreck. And the Panzerschreck had a heavier rocket than the American one. And so that's what the blast shield is for.
And then they realized they didn't need such a heavy rocket.
Pretty much. And so they did that and took out the requirement of the blast shield there, basically. No, we're not at this range, we can easily defeat it. No, it's not. Shut up. That point, I just hit it right there, is like 50 millimeters of armor. We would have killed it right there with the Panzerschreck at this range. Tiger was not that scary a thing. Matter of fact, hitting it in the side armor here would definitely kill the damn thing too.
Don't worry, this one doesn't even know how to look towards you.
The turret turned at like 5 degrees a second or some shit, or minute, or whatever the fuck it was.
It's 5 degrees a minute. That's horrifyingly bad.
It's not that bad, but...
Oh yeah, just...
No, I mean, like, it wasn't as bad as that. I was exaggerating a little bit, but it wasn't exactly fast.
Yeah.
Speaking of, how does the turret move? Is it motorized or is it just like with a flag, how you imagine a flag cannon with a winch?
Most of them should be motorized.
Because I can imagine the Germans still having a winch.
Oh, most tanks did.
Listen up.
In case the turret took damage and you needed to manually crank the hand, like...
Let's go.
It's not surprising there. Matter of fact, the M10 Wolverine, we're doing this. The M10 Wolverine actually was a hand crank turret across the board.
Why are you gonna try and pretend to be a cowboy in the middle of World War II?
I'm gonna pretend I'm the British captain from,
Company of Heroes.
Company Heroes. Oh, hey, there's a doorway there.
Until our convoy arrives.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Probably shouldn't do this, but, I mean, that's a revolver. I gotta play with it.
MG42 at the end of this road.
So many bad jokes I kinda wanna make.
God, fuck off, game.
Until our convoy arrives.
Alright.
See, this is why you knock.
Oh no, like, I got stuck on dumb shit and couldn't move, and they club faster than you do in this game.
Yeah, so far you've only really died to melee, have you?
Because getting meleeed also fucks up your aim. Like, I was trying to have fun here, game. I wanted to dick around with a revolver. You've taken that away from me, so I'm just gonna go and blitz through everything now.
And then run back for the revolver.
Fun fact, by the way, in Siege, the reason Blitz is called Blitz is originally his power was that he was able to move during the defender's setup, and it turns out that was slightly overpowered.
Just a little bit, especially if you don't know whether or not they have a blitz.
Stick with me! I'll be right behind you! Terminator National Road! Be sure! Auf der rechten Seite! Schutz! Sanitäter! Schuss! Feuer auf die Truppen konzentrieren! German troops! Right side!
Yeah, there's no way they had two Tigers out here. That's a Panzer IV, guys. I've kind of mentioned it before, but the Americans only saw 4 Panzer tanks, or 4 Tiger tanks.
Wait, did they have a shotgun that just seemed like, or?
Oh, apparently I also grabbed the wrong weapon. Oop, alright. And there's no way the Germans are riding that piece of shit through town, either. That's a real quick way to just die horribly. Like, in combat situations, you're supposed to bail off the goddamn... whatever. Well, you... fuck off! I'm trying to do something. So if we're being realistic, that shot to the turret there, to the side armor of the turret, I just killed the entire crew.
Or at the very least, with game physics, should have broken the turret and made it stop being able to move.
Yeah. So, you've got the commander and the gunner sitting up there, you've got the loader right next to it, and you've got the driver right there. A heat round hitting right there is going to kill 3 of the members of the crew, bare minimum. Like, we're not talking a pleasant experience. And Panzer Shrek definitely has enough range to, or penetration power to definitely hit the side armor there, no questions asked, and blah 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 blah. Tiger tank was not that scary a tank. It had a good gun, and it was moderately hard to kill at longer ranges until you got to, like, the 76 Shermans, the Fireflies, the... I don't remember if the Cromwell could do it effectively or not. Where the fuck am I supposed to be going? I feel like there's a flaw with this game's compass system sometimes. It might also be dumb and not paying attention to what they're telling me, but...
The game's perfect.
Hey, he said British infantry. I understand German now.
So, what did they have any earlier tanks, or is it just Panzer IVs and the occasional Tiger?
Early war, they had Panzer IIs and Panzer IIIs, and they were more than a match for the Soviets. Which is where a lot of the myth of German armor being superior comes from, is how early war they were stomping all over shitty Soviet tanks. You had stuff like the M3 Lee, which was actually fairly effective, but not as good as it could have been. And then the Sherman rolled out, and I wish I could find it again. There was an article, a German field report, that was talking about the American heavy tank, the Sherman, being an actual threat to German equipment out in Africa.
Yes, the heavy Sherman.
It was heavier than anything else we'd fielded to that point, so...
Almost still a medium tank, yet in the grand scheme of things.
It is. But the Germans called the Panther a medium tank, and the thing is like heavier than... It's like 10 tons lighter than a Sherman. Or not a Sherman, 10 tons lighter than a Abrams. And so designations are kind of an iffy thing.
So at this point in the war, it's mainly 4s.
What's that?
So at this point in the war, it's mainly 4s?
3s, 4s, because you had like the Panzer III and... you had the Panzer IV, you had the Panzer V, which would have been the Tiger, I believe. The Panzer VI was the Tiger? I don't remember which. Tigers had multiple problems. Logistics being a major one. But they had the bad habit of burning themselves out. There was about a 25% chance that your Tiger tank just wouldn't be able to show up to the fight because the drive chain gave out, the engine gave out,
Which, on the Soviet side, was a real common thing as well, wasn't it?
Early early T-34s, you had to have your driver as the strongest guy in the tank. Otherwise, you weren't able to shift into 4th or 5th gear, I don't remember which. Basically, you couldn't get into the last drive gear because it was too hard to shift the damn tank into that gear.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot of the documentaries I've watched claim that the T-34 is the best all-around tank for the war.
Depending on which historian you ask, it's either the T-34-85 or the Sherman. I'd argue the Sherman because they built the Shermans to last longer than the T-34s did. But in terms of cost to efficiency ratio, both are really good tanks. Thing about the T-34 is that it had a couple of problems. By the way, I just noticed that somebody lovingly rendered the horse's asshole, which I thought was pretty funny.
Things you notice.
I was like talking and I'm like, is that really modeled? Alright. So the T-34 had a couple of problems, metallurgy being one of them. It suffered the same problem a lot of these German equipment did. The difference is the Germans weren't fielding as many high explosive rounds as we were. Like, Sherman crews are more than happy to smack a German tank with HE. And if I remember to, like, if I take a break or something like that in between games, maybe I'll find an image real quick of the, like, there's a picture of a Panther where if you look at it, it looks like it's shattered. Like, the armor looks like it's shattered like glass, and it's actually a Sherman 75 smacking it with a HE. There's a couple of other interesting issues with the Panther in particular. It's a sealed crew quarters and a sealed engine compartment, which meant that oil tended to pool in there, and engine fires on the Panther were particularly bad. There's at least one confirmed Panther that killed itself because the crew commander sealed the hatches up and lit a cigarette. And at least one Panther was killed, or well, knocked out, made combat ineffective, however you want to put it, by Sherman crews hitting the tank with smoke rounds and choking the crew out of the tank.
But if it was sealed...
They hit the engine intakes. All that with Willie Pete rounds. Like, the Panther was not a good tank. The Panther had a bad habit of lighting itself on fire. The transmission was built, the tank was a T-34 clone. German engineering decided that it needed to be far heavier than the T-34. Matter of fact, if you look at the engineering schematics behind it, the tank, the engine, the drivetrain, all that, was designed for a tank that was 10 tons lighter. If the tank had been 10 tons lighter, the Panther probably would have been a scarier tank. The other thing about the Panther is that its cannon had too high a velocity. I was kind of talking about this last night. It makes it a good tank destroyer, but if you're trying to support infantry with it, its HE loadout's really shitty. Which means that as a way to support your infantry, it's kind of... shit. Alright.
Which, in the end of things, is kind of what things are supposed to be for.
Yeah, ultimately, you want to know what the #1 killer of tanks was in the war?
Infantry.
Oh. Any other guesses?
German engineering.
Only for the German. What was your guess, Oda?
Terrain?
Nope. Lana, you got a guess?
Not really, I'm afraid.
Toad anti-tank.
Oh, what?
The Toad anti-tank emplacements. So like the 57mm and
pieces they're holding around.
So, like, I'm not sure what that is.
the
back cannon.
PaK-38, the Flak 88, the American 57mm, the British 17 pounder, the...
Oh, no, look at this.
So, like, gun,
Field
Look at
guns.
this.
Those killed more tanks than anything else in the war, aircraft included. So, when you're getting into that argument, like, the Sherman did its job better. That's why we used the 75 for as long as we did. The, what am I supposed to be doing here?
That farmhouse
Oh.
controls this crossroads. Davis, take
That's
some
what we were waiting on. We only upgraded to the 76 Sherman when it became apparent that the Germans actually had more Panthers than we thought they did. I mentioned it before, we have 4 confirmed Tiger encounters. And the 75 killed them reliably enough that the old commander's like, yeah, we don't want to upgrade to the 76, it fucks with crew ergonomics, and the HE loadout's kind of shitty. Which is, again, kind of a recurring theme, is that the HE is important to people in the field, so... But, then we... Oh, go ahead.
That's pretty funny. In all these tank games I played, you know, World at War and War Thunder, the HE sucks.
Yeah, War Thunder... I don't understand why War Thunder doesn't have crew spalling yet, but other than the fact that it would probably piss off a lot of German players, particularly, and Soviet players, is having like the 105 Sherman howitzer not turning him inside out or whatever. But then again, War Thunder also had problems with like weird nerf ideas and things like that. What the fuck am I supposed to be doing?
Squad, deploy a smoke screen and move in. Take control of that.
Oh my god, alright. It wants me to secure this farmhouse here, but I can't figure out how the fuck to get in there. No, no, there we go, alright. Okay. MP40, like, that was dumb of me, whatever. Probably also shouldn't be carrying around the Panzer Schreck, but it's funny, so fuck it. The only thing I can think of is that just having your tank slammed repeatedly by HE and losing your crew to it would just piss people off, I guess.
Yeah, it's probably like a lot of the accuracies they have in there. It's all about the game balance.
No, it's not. They say that, but they kept nerfing Sherman speeds and depression angles and things like that, and I've joked about it before, but what made me quit that game was, I was driving my whatever, yeah, I shouldn't be looking at my gun while I'm trying to talk. I was driving my M18 Hellcat through Berlin on one of the roads. My M18 was fully kitted out, and, you know, with my veteran crew on it. And, I'm cruising on a back road, and I look behind me, and a T-34-85 is keeping pace with my M18. And it's like, okay, so I've got a tank that can be killed by HMGs, and has a 76 cannon, and the T-34-85 has more armor, a better gun, and is keeping pace with me, so it's clearly not game balance.
I can't say what it is then. That's my best theory.
Incompetence is my guess. Because people complain about the M18, and I knew a lot of German players struggled killing the M18 because they didn't understand, hey, maybe I should use the machine gun button to kill it instead of trying to hit it with AP slugs. I actually carry like 5 HE rounds in my, all of my tanks, specifically with the idea of, that's bad. Like AA trucks or other soft-skin vehicles. It was a lot easier to kill them with HE than it was to kill them with AP.
I'm not sure what kind of results you expect of AP since it just punch through them entirely.
I had a game, and I wish I'd recorded it because it was the funniest damn thing. I had a German player in a Tiger, got a good shot. I don't know, good or lucky, I don't know how to put it. He tracked my M18, and I was stuck out in the middle of an open field, and kind of fucked. Like, I'm not even going to pretend that I wasn't in a bad situation there. And he, kept shooting me with AP ammo, and since he didn't know where the crew sat, he didn't kill me in time before I managed to kill his tank with my almost completely disabled and uncrewed M18.
Machine gun! Move!
And that was after I had to repair my gun in order to do so.
Lorry! Southwest!
Just kept punching through your thing.
Yeah, because he was over-penetrating. And he was whining about how overpowered the M18 was. It's like, maybe if you weren't an idiot, you'd be able to kill me by now. Because your machine gun's strong enough to kill me. I didn't tell him that until after I'd killed him, but...
I have a hard time with those games. It feels like I'm playing rocket tag with people.
I don't like it. I enjoyed playing with the M41A1 and things like that just because it pissed people off. And there was that one game I legit felt bad for some guy that I killed with like a 2,000 meter shot on a Ferdinand with the M41A1. Because I got a lucky ricochet and it penetrated his armor at a weird angle and lit his tank on fire, and he was clearly a brand new Ferdinand. So he burned to death over the course of about 45 seconds at his spawn point, basically. I was like, man, I legit feel kind of bad for this. That's a shitty way to lose a match.
Hier ein Geschenk von der deutschen Armee!
It's a good thing that the roof, this cottage is bulletproof.
Considering the time period, I mean, well, of the game, not necessarily the...
But not necessarily the real one.
I'm not too surprised I don't have bullet penetration or anything.
Oh yeah, it's a thing of the game era, but...
So I'm not gonna lie, by the way, I've never actually completed the American campaign. My disc broke before I could ever finish it. So after we get past this stuff, I don't know the game anymore, at all. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't remember this part of the game too well either, but... It wasn't completely obvious by me even wandering around blind, but where the fuck am I supposed to be going?
To be honest, the American levels are not as interesting as the other two.
What's that?
The American levels don't seem as interesting as the British and the Soviet ones.
I don't know, the Soviet one in this game is pretty boring. Yeah, see, and that's another goddamn tiger. What do we do? Ignore it because it doesn't exist.
Keep quiet!
Just call it Hobbs and pretend it doesn't exist.
No sooner!
Nope, they've figured out where I'm hiding.
There's a network error. The stream's running slowly.
Oh, is it on yours? Like, is it my... something,
No, that was on my end.
something appears to have gone wrong. I appear to have gained the ability to float.
Magical. I mean, who would have thought that they'd perfected levitation technology back in World War II?
Shame that knowledge was lost though.
Oh no, they just claim that it's all a ruse, a great conspiracy. They covered it up with Area 52.
So that's how all the
Hey.
planes managed to fly.
Area 52 is my favorite Quake Wars map. Because I used to know the spawn times well enough that I could spawn camp people with artillery. I mean,
My god, how dare you. Banu from All Quake.
Well done, lads. We're to escort the convoy through the next town.
so we've got Bren carriers, Bren carriers, Bren carriers. Where's your Piats, troopers? Everybody wants to use the shittiest anti-tank of the war.
Just pretend it doesn't exist and you won't happen to have one in your lab.
I'm trying to get up there. Lucky Lucy broke down. Was that the Crusader from the prior missions? I think it was. I think that's the one that run me over.
I thought that got blown up in Tunisia.
Yeah, I don't know. The Tiger. Bloody Mary, the Sherman. So these
First
are
dog got knocked out by the British.
these are 75 Shermans. At this point, at least one of these should probably be a Firefly.
Tiger tank! Take cover!
Okay, just fire, fire, fire. You'd kill it. Fire. It's dead.
Infantry! Get on low on!
Okay, so realistically, that Tiger tank is fucked. Like, there is no way that Tiger tank survived 2 side shots like that. The 75 was more than powerful enough to penetrate at about 300, well, side armor was about 500 meters. At that range, it would have penetrated the front armor with ease.
You weren't expecting realism in your Call of Duty game now, are you?
Well, back then, yes, because that was what they tried to sell themselves as a more realistic alternative to Medal of Honor.
I mean, they still try to sell themselves as it, but not saying it's
That's actually one of the one of the reasons I'm kind of hard on the realism of this game is because that's how they used to market it. It's a fun game. I'm not going to give it too much shit because all the games kind of suffered that problem, but
German grenade mode!
alright, I'll take a hit. But anyway, yeah, that Tiger tank rolling up and getting shot in the side like that, it's a dead Tiger tank. That crew died horribly. They would have been turned inside out by the damn thing at that range, because side armor was, what, 80 millimeters?
I don't know.
Oh, that wasn't a dead body. Oops. Why can't I move forward?
There's our objective! Town Hall! Dead ahead! Lay down the fire, boys!
What the fuck is... game? Game? I have no idea what the hell is happening there. I don't know if you could see it, but I was like teleporting around and spinning around.
That did not show on stream. You did double throw a grenade though.
Yeah, that was me trying to throw a grenade up there. My guy didn't throw a grenade, and then I like slid over here and... Oh. Alrighty then, so just...
But the game has difficulty processing that vent.
I
Oh, you
don't
just
know!
got shot.
That wasn't me getting shot, that was the tank touching me and me exploding instantly. Game. Game? Game, please?
Keep the Jerry's busy! We'll set up a base of fire on that hill!
Oh, alright, there we go.
Shift right! British infantry!
Yeah, see, this is so dumb that the Tiger is this, and this is where a lot of that bullshit comes from.
How nice of them to always stand belly to back though, and just line up for you.
Yeah, it's an old school game. Like, AI being dumb is part of it. I'm just more annoyed that the myth of the Tiger being an unkillable monster is alive and present here. I don't seem to be able to get in there. Alright.
All right, men, move out!
Let's go.
Oh, that's why I got stuck here. You weren't supposed to come up here yet.
Lee Davis, we've got you covered. Move up.
So you just ran to an invisible wall.
What the fuck is that sound? Are you guys hearing that buzzing too?
Yes, one single sound is repeating itself to ad infinitum.
Every sound's repeating itself, or just that buzzing noise?
Like one little sound was. The rest of the sound just worked normally.
German infantry! Around that front!
Oops, my bad.
Positions in this building! Come on!
The Sherman tanks have such edgy names in this game. Oh, here drives my grave digger.
It's kind of funny because like the real Shermans had some pretty funny names, like Lafayette J. Poole's G-Pool, not J-Pool.
That one that got blown up at the intersection.
Was
where he got
Gravedigger.
stuck. Was I thought I said Pandemonium.
Oh, that might have been it.
Pandemonium was the first tank you saw on this mission as well.
Lafayette G. Poole, an American Tank Aces tank, was in the mood, and he went through 3 or 4 of them. That's actually one of the decals you can get in... Fuck off, game. Anyway, it's one of the decals you can get in... War Thunder, actually. And one of the medals is also named after Poole. I'm already in the post office. Good guy? Oh, yeah, there is.
There should be a flak gun further up the road. Let's take it out.
I will say I kind of like the ambience of this mission. Kind of the rainstorm of running gunfight. I can't help but feel like it needs music or something, though. Like... I know it's not realistic, but the music really does kind of help. Because this mission feels too quiet, almost.
And there's a quieter interlight on main silent.
Well, you can do like minimalist music or something. We have discovered the toilet. Alright. That's a lot of bad guys. What the hell are you doing running? Oh, God. Guys, get out of the goddamn way! I get a move on if you fuckers are getting out of my way! Alright, I think I've found all of the Germans.
So what you're saying is grenade the church. I don't war crime, but grenade the church. They're not
Not a
allowed
war-
to be in there anyway.
Actually, it's not a war crime if they're shooting out of it.
That's what I said, they shouldn't be in there to begin with. They are the
Perfect.
war crime perpetrators.
In this situation, I'm like, because I know that we use churches as cover as well, but not in the. Well, actually, I don't know. It'd be interesting to look into that, but
But you use churches for hospitals.
a bit of A, bit of B.
Might have mattered if it was abandoned or not.
To be fair, that might also be more a modern thing too. So
Nelson and Wetley, stand guard.
I'd have to look up when that actually became a hey, don't do this kind of thing.
Still have a German field HQ to capture. Now let's move out.
I know that the Red Cross is one of the things that was still a thing back then. That's actually why I think it was in another one. God damn it, people. A medic stayed behind with a bunch of wounded, knowing that he'd get captured by the Germans because he wanted to rescue like as many people as he could. And the German commander captured and executed all of them. And after the town was liberated, the townspeople talked about it, and the entire unit was tried and executed as, you know, terrible people. So,
Fun times.
yeah.
No, you don't get to use the flak cannon.
What's that?
You don't get to use the flak cannon.
Apparently not. Your tea sucks, Private. Alright, anyway.
Yeah, well, your private sucks tea.
I have no idea where we're going again.
Crowds! Around that broken wall! To the southwest!
Oh, I think they're shooting at me. See, this was a part in Call of Duty 1. This is where the 101st showed up. Matter of fact, if you watch Band of Brothers, you might recognize some of the buildings around here, which is why I recognize it. Because there should be a graveyard. Maybe it's a different part and they're just reusing the model? Because there's a graveyard back this way on the original part, and that building right there was... Whatever. Don't think too hard on it. They probably are just reusing assets. We are in the same city after all.
Squad, move up! Form a base of fire at that wall! German infantry! Next to that wall over there! Stand fast! Potato masher Wagner! Look, storm that building! Williams, go!
Oh, hey! There's like 4 guys down there. Alright!
Squad troops! Next to that wall over there! Southwest!
I swear, it feels like my guy's not running very fast. Oh, that was a lot of grenades.
Looks like to me you're less running and more gliding.
Yeah, something about the movement doesn't feel quite right.
Storm that building! Williams, move it!
Should there be listed any tracers?
I think I pull
Probably
it
not.
more than tracers at this point.
That's usually a player benefit thing. It's a clown house full of clowns.
Nazi clowns.
Squad leaders, get your men into defensive positions and gather up weapons and ammo. Let's get this town in order.
It did not ambush us, we ambushed it! The only reason it didn't die is because it had plot armor, literally.
Take cover! Get to the barn! Move! Ross! On me! Okay, I'm with you.
Just as a friendly reminder, a M8 Greyhound with a 37mm cannon killed a Tiger II. In case you doubted me when I was saying that they weren't actually that tough a tank. The battle report for that's pretty fascinating, by the way. The crew talks that they snuck up behind it, and they literally just drove up right behind it and shot it in the ass until it lit on fire. And that's more or less what they say in the battle report as well, is that we drove up behind it and shot it until we saw smoke pouring out of the crew compartment.
Door open.
Poor crew. Burned alive.
Wise one.
This is why we avoid it.
That's not an uncommon fate for tankers.
Actually, it was not that common a fate for the Sherman. Wet ammo racks and doctrines were telling it, hey, maybe we shouldn't keep ammo in the turret, stupids. Which is something the Germans had to learn the hard way, too.
Didn't they usually have their ammo racks like just lined around the turret?
Yes, and they... German doctrine actually forbade that after a while. Trooper, what the fuck are you doing in the back of it? Whatever. Anyway.
Keep it marching! Go on!
And off it drives without the gunner because I shot him in the back of the head. So, you know, I know that I rag on the Germans a lot in this one because part of the reason for wanting to do this was to kind of get rid of some of those ideas, even though I'm not really doing it to a large audience or anything, blah, blah, blah. One thing they did do really well was make sure that all their tanks had radios and shit like that. Like, they did have some good ideas, it's just their competence in battle was vastly overrated. And interestingly, part of that was because they suddenly went from being our enemies to our allies, which is why you don't hear about all the dumb shit that Rommel did either, because they needed a hero that the now West Germans could have that they wouldn't feel bad about. Like, I know that sounds kind of patronizing, but if you think about it in terms of post-war Germany and the now ongoing Cold War, it makes a little bit more sense to have a way to try and increase morale and help the army recover.
I mean, hell, the Germans today are still super guilty about that stuff. At least their government is.
We're not going to get into the politics behind any of that right now. This is not it. I'm fine shitposting about history, but I don't know enough of the situation to make any intelligent comments, so we'll avoid it. Only the rest of the world were that smart about it. Anyway, though, yeah, basically a lot of it is like Goebbels' propaganda and Western propaganda trying to prop up the Western German army, and various people just not actually understanding parts of the war. Like Death Traps is a really good example. He was convinced that the Sherman was a bad tank because the only ones he saw were generally destroyed ones because he was part of a repair crew. And he didn't quite realize that a lot of those crews survived the tank being destroyed.
I think that would also lead to a case of he didn't know how many survived versus destroyed. If he was part of the repair crew.
Well, and like I said, the other thing to keep in mind is that a lot of tanks weren't killed by other tanks. Especially when you're talking the German army at this point, who would have been on the defensive. So...
So I figured it would be a case of, like, you don't ask the person who buries the dead how many people you lost in the battle versus survived.
It's not even that. You ask any soldier what they think of their equipment, and they're always going to say it's a piece of shit. Little known fact, the Germans nicknamed the Panzer IV the Redbeard the Thin-Skinned after a slogan from a Razor at the time. Because the damn thing would, like... I mentioned it before, but the damn thing got effectively turned inside out by the Sherman 75 regularly. There's also some other interesting parts, like Sherman sloping and all that. It had higher effective armor, but the Germans just had a big enough gun to override that benefit. And ammo choices and blah blah blah. There's always more to it than what you always hear about.
Usually when someone tells a story, they tell their side anyway.
I got one! I got one!
There's some interesting parts, like nobody on the German side, or at least Rommel and them, had no idea who the hell Patton was, for example. It drives me nuts that they've got that hatch open all the time. You're driving in a combat area, you are not keeping that hatch open.
German infantry! Around that broken wall! Get ahead! They know we're here, lads! Dig in and fight! Harrison! Cover! Nice! Cover me! I'm reloading! Stand down! It's an MG-42! Retreat, no lasher! Run! So much for the easy stuff, lads! That big farmhouse is the centerpiece of the German defense here! We've got to capture it! Around that broken wall! Northwest of our position! I got one!
What else do we want to... The hell was that? Alright, anyway. He just breaks cover and kind of slowly waddles straight towards me. Alright.
We do not question the enemy's stupidity.
I mean, that is one of this game's quotes, never interrupt the enemy when they're making a mistake. Huh, apparently that grenade was closer than I thought it was. Oops. I feel like I'm using the MP40 too much, but it's just so easy to use, there's so much ammo for it. That hip fires surprisingly well.
It might be because I came off playing Siege, but it seems like all the enemies take a lot of rounds before going down.
They do. Siege has people taking more hits than you'd think they would sometimes too. And then you also have the thing where, like, a fragment hits a guy in the head through a wall from, like, you penetrated through 3 things, a drywall, a brick wall, and other parts, and you whiz it past their ear and they drop dead too, so don't think too hard on siege logic. This game and Company of Heroes is where a lot of people get their World War II knowledge from, though. This Company of Heroes had it pretty fucking bad, too. Like,
Well,
I just find it
Right.
strange that people get their history from video games.
no, it's not. People are dumb. And I don't mean that in a nihilistic way. It's just... some people see it in a game like Company of Heroes where they try and present themselves as realistic and nobody sits there and questions it. They just go, oh, that must be how it is. But shit like the Persian crew panicking when they see a tiger, it's like, no, they're not. They're not gonna worry about a tiger. They're gonna turn it inside out with a fucking 90mm cannon and laugh at it.
Was it Persian tank meant as a tiger killer, essentially, quote unquote?
Basically. It had a big gun on it.
Had past tense, apparently.
Interestingly enough, the army disliked the Sherman enough that during the Korean War they went back to the Sherman. Because the Pershing was too unreliable and had too many other problems. They,
Price, open.
the fuck was that? Alright, anyway, the Marines kept their Pershings, but by all accounts the army was not a big fan of the Pershing, which is interestingly because
We've taken up.
that's why we didn't have the Pershing for most of the war. It had too many problems, it had too many flaws, it had too many...
Sherman was just outright more reliable.
Yeah. And believe it or not, having a tank that shows up every battle and is easily repaired and has a effective enough cannon for government work is more beneficial than
From the side. Find a good position and get ready.
more beneficial than damn near anything else you could do.
Behind the broken wall. South of the position. Enemy down. German smoke screen. Hold your fire until you have a target.
I'd say this game does a lot of the hold your ground till reinforcements arrive. But
To be fair, I mean,
That's an easy game design choice.
and it is the tenser moments of this game is when you have to...
Makes you feel more easily overwhelmed.
Yeah, it gives you the sense that you're being pushed harder than you actually are and things like that. But yeah, anyway, we were kind of talking about Dresden earlier. Since we're talking about shit that a lot of wereaboos talk about that they didn't quite get right. Anytime you hear somebody say that the Germans were on the back foot and that Dresden was a war crime, to point out that Anne Frank was still alive when Dresden happened. See what they say about that. The fact is... Oh, go ahead.
being as the only Dresden I know is the book series, I have no idea what you're talking about.
In the very first book, he talks about Dresden as in the firebombing of... Because
Well,
Jim Butcher is
it's
kind of a
not
hack.
It's an old German cultural city, but they planted war factories in there.
Well, they also had a giant logistics hub and things like that in the area. Like, we bombed all the rail lines and everything. But a lot of wereaboos considered it a war crime because we firebombed the ever-living shit out of it. And it was towards the end of the war, and they're like, well, you know, the Germans were losing. And it's like, well, if they're losing, then why did the Battle of the Bulge happen? And, you know, why were they still killing people in concentration camps?
Their insistency to not surrender.
Plus, if you're winning, you generally don't stop until they give up. It's not like, okay, we're winning now, that means we can back off.
These are the same people that think that we nuked the Japanese because we wanted to scare the Russians off. And it's like, you know, the Russians didn't actually have the naval capability to invade mainland Japan without our help anyway, right? It's the same reason why I always laugh when I hear the German wereaboos go, oh, or well, not German wereaboos, but wereaboos in general, insist that they could have invaded mainland England. And it's like, no, the British Navy would have had a field day sinking all of the barges.
I had an argument with a coworker about the nuclear.
The fact is by all accounts, the nuking of Japan saved more lives than it killed. The other options were things like Operation Downfall and Operation Starvation. And we were already working on Operation Starvation. Starvation was mining the harbors and setting up a blockade and preventing supplies from reaching mainland Japan, which, if you don't understand the implication of that, we were talking about starving millions of civilians as well as the army.
That's in starving an entire country.
Never mind that the Japanese defense plan involved arming all the civilians with spears and having them suicide charge the Americans and everything. And
yeah, I was gonna say, to be fair, at that point the difference between the citizenry and the army was kind of thin.
like, if you should go look up the interviews with the survivors of the Enola Gay and I don't remember the second bomber. All of them almost across the board say we should never use these ever again, but this was necessary. It kind of paints an interesting picture that the guys that actually did the action think that it was a horrible, horrible thing and like a very dark moment in history, and it was necessary.
Sergeant Davis, use your explosives and plant them on that tank.
How about you just give me a Piat and let me kill the damn thing?
Another Tiger?
Yeah, probably.
Do they not have a model for anything else?
Probably not.
I'm just amused with your little backhand thing, they being completely kill off the tigers.
What's that?
I'm just amused by the backhand of your comment saying you wanted a Piat to kill the tiger.
Because at this rate, a Piat would probably actually work. And I say probably because the Piat was a piece of shit. And nobody liked it.
Well, even the British liked it.
Like, no joke, there's a, they were interviewing some guys that helped secure secure one of the bridges during D-Day. And it was two men setting up explosives on a bridge, and they saw the Panzer Division moving forward, like 3 Panzers rolling forward. And they were like, well, we're fucked. I'm gonna shoot the Piat at them, try and piss them off, and while they're busy killing me, you need to plant the explosives and murder them all, and blow the bridge. So they fired... They were pretty sure they were gonna die. They knew that they needed to blow the bridge, though, and so that was their objective, and that's what they wanted to do. And so they fired the Piat off, and kill the first tank and like literally blow the thing apart. It hit ammo or whatever, and the thing just died. And apparently the other German tanks were so surprised by the fact that the thing literally just disintegrated that they were sure that there was an entire anti-tank division there, or a company there, and retreated and reported that they couldn't take the bridge because there was an anti-tank team there. So, I mean... There's some interesting things there, but the Piat was a piece of shit.
1944.
There's no getting around it.
Allied forces crossed the border between Belgium and Germany, encountering heavy
It
resistance.
was spring-loaded, and there was actually a benefit to this Piat in that you could fire it indoors, which was the only anti-tank weapon of the war that you could fire indoors, except for maybe the M18, 118?
Directions.
I'd have to look at that one. The recoilless rifle, I'm pretty sure you couldn't know. I'm pretty sure that one had a 4-foot blast.
Numerous losses upon the Allies. Now, the U.S. 2nd Ranger Battalion prepares to capture the hill and deny its use to the Germans.
Alright, you heard the guy. We're gonna go liberate the Bernstein Bears.
I thought it was Bernstein.
If I know.
I always heard it Berenstein. There was a TV show, actually.
Oh, I read the books when I was little.
we had the books, but there was also a few episodes of the TV show that we had recorded on old VCR tape.
Alright, so I've never seen these missions.
That's a kill! Enemy infantry! Five more! Those bastards!
And the 20-round mag Thompson. At this point in the war, I'm not sure if we were using the 20-round or the 30-round standard. I know that we didn't usually use the drum mag, because drum mags are not particularly reliable. Ever.
And heavy.
And the weight's not the problem so much as the feed issues in it. A jammed gun is a bad gun.
Get some fire on those guys!
Did I tell you I got a chance to fire a gun?
That's it. It's easy to shoot gun.
It was a lot of fun to fire.
We had a M1 carbine in the family that got sold, and I was kind of pissed off that they didn't let us take it. Because it was my great-grandfather's? He never fired it because, matter of fact, he never took it. He was a pilot in the Pacific, and it was part of his bailout kit in case he got shot down. And he refused to take it with him because he was sure that by taking it, he was admitting he was going to get shot down.
30 cal set up in that window!
And so he never carried it because he was sure that if he carried it, he would get shot down because he was prepared to get shot down.
Huh. Weird.
So, yeah. To be fair, though, we did save some of his other guns. He had a, well, we tried to. Somebody in the family stole it. We had a 5-digit serial number M1911. Which I am so sad that we don't have. Just for the history alone of a 1911 that old.
I take it that it did not take long for that to be a 6-digit serial number.
But the other thing is he had a gun personally engraved by, well, not personally engraved by him, but from the Colt Company. He had a revolver engraved by them. Because he was a retired, I think he retired an admiral. I won't be giving his name here in public because reasons, but at least 2 of the people in this chat I've actually linked them before, so there's that.
That M1 ended up getting sold so that nobody in the family would fight over him when he died. We did end up getting the rifle, the Japanese rifle.
So there's an interesting question. How good a condition is that rifle in? Because early war Japanese rifles were actually halfway decent. Late war ones were
Desperate attempts.
hazardous to use. We'll put it that way.
You've never actually fired it, so I'm not sure.
Is the wood splinter? Is it polished wood or is it dried wood?
I haven't looked at it recently.
Because late war Japanese rifles were made with like really shitty wood and things like that.
I think it was dried. Not sure.
It'd be something to look at. I know that the Japanese pistols were special because you could smack the side of the gun or touch the side of the gun and fire them off.
We never got to fire it because we never had any ammo for it. We have the bayonet though.
My M9130 came with a bayonet.
We're gonna have to cut east. Let's go!
Hey, mortar fire.
Time to go! Get moving!
Yeah, that ping is loud, but not as loud as games and movies have made it out to be. Like, the Germans never heard the damn thing. Or very rarely heard it.
I'm just wondering where the start of that story came from then.
More crowds in that house to the east!
Probably somebody talking shit.
Use your grenade to clear that house room by room! Go!
Still drives me nuts that you can't reload rounds in early games. You rack the slide back and you eject the round and you can pop the magazine out. Like, it's a pain in the ass compared to reloading some other guns, but not that big a pain in the ass. I'm gonna go ahead and say a 30-06 bouncing off the back of your helmet at that range is unlikely, but you're probably not gonna turn around and immediately try and shoot the guy, because I just rung his goddamn bell.
Good work. Now let's head north.
Anyway,
Having looked at the rounds, yeah, I'm pretty sure it'd knock you flat on your ass.
it's a 30-06. It's not something you want to get shot by. That was the most anemic kick I've seen in a while. Trooper, why do you have a Panzer Shrek and not a bazooka? Come on, hey.
Because it's the only launcher in the war.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. They didn't model any other rocket launcher.
Man down!
I mean, to be fair, it was also still in the age where they actually cared about disk space.
Taylor, move out there and take out that MG-42! Let's go, Taylor, get moving!
Oh wow. It's a little off topic, but do you know IWI has some manufacturing in the US?
Yeah. Pretty sure my Jericho's American made.
Listen up. We gotta clear this house.
Apparently so is my X95.
IWI?
Israeli weapons. Open door, please. Open. Open door.
The door and frag those crowds. Ready? Now! Go, go, go!
And I think the old tagline for the original Call of Duty is "You are not alone" or something like that. Like, because, you know, shooters up until this Call of Duty 1 had you running it solo and murdering like thousands of people, and
I start getting the impression that the tagline here was Sanitator.
about Sanitator.
That's the tagline for the German side, clearly.
Yeah, they do shout it out a lot, but I mean, wouldn't you if you saw all of your dudes losing their helmets and popping their heads off?
Probably.
Or something? I don't know. Now, there's something we don't talk a lot about. German uniforms suck ass. I don't mean aesthetically. They were made out of shitty materials and didn't have enough pockets on them.
Oh, a moment I thought you were gonna say they literally sucked ass.
No, they were noted as falling apart in bad weather like this too. M1 carbine, huh?
So I thought only the officers got decent clothing.
I know that during the Winter War they went into Russia pretty unprepared for winter.
Oh, that's not uncommon. They outran their logistics line regularly. I don't mean that. I mean, like, their basic default, hey, let's wear this uniform for this kind of weather, was shitty. Like, across the board, everybody else had better uniforms. And if you're talking aesthetics, I prefer the American Paratrooper or the British Commando uniforms. The Russian Guard uniform was also pretty good. Gotta dig that trench coat kind of thing.
Fellas, we're gonna dig in and wait for the rest of the company. Watch for a counterattack. That hill to the north is crawling with Krauts. Tomorrow morning we're going up there.
This was a mission in Company of Heroes, by the way. That mission where you had to secure the church and set the machine gun up in it, and you had the intersection? This is that intersection.
Search those bodies for intel.
Huh.
On the flanks.
I think Men of Valor had a mission on the exact same casting as well.
That wouldn't surprise me.
So-
I'm kind of impressed that I recognize where I'm supposed to be at as far as the game is concerned.
What are your orders, sir? The Krauts almost have us zeroed in. Shut up! Just shut up! I need to think about this.
Maybe not. I don't know. Whatever.
Hell, we can't sit here.
Do I have more ammo? Yes, I do. Neat.
Let's go, get the bastards! What are you doing? Machine gun MG-42 to the north.
I appear to be stuck. Please send help. I wonder if this is...
Need adults. Wonder if this?
I was just thinking.
Also, the way the movement looks especially weird when you're charging into enemy fire, just casually sliding up to them.
Hold right here. Wait for them to reload.
Like more so where you're moving around regularly.
Get those satchel charges ready. On my signal. Someone get a smoke grenade out there.
You ever notice that in these games, who plays the British, they have one accent?
This one doesn't. They had Scots and Brits and a couple of, shouting at you. So who's got the satchel charge?
Taylor, use your satchel charge on that door.
Oh, hey, no shit. They actually mentioned the satchel charge. Alright.
That smoke actually looks pretty good, especially for this time.
Yeah, they did. Like I said, this game's got some pretty effects for it for its age, 2005. Oh, that grenade was closer than I thought it was. Which seems to be a recurring oops with me. Go figure.
What these mini grenades are going about?
Yeah, this is definitely the grenades ban game. Which is a problem in multiplayer too, by the way.
So, typical Call of Duty.
One didn't have the same problem this one did. This one was very grenade happy because everybody spawned with 2 grenades.
Oh, speaking of grenades, I've been meaning to ask. I know that Sledge starts with a frag grenade. Which one else does?
So,
Finka and
Pinka, Buck, and Sledge.
the Holy Trinity.
And between those two, Buck and Sledge are both very good choices depending on the map and what you want to do with them and various other goodies.
Finka's recoil reduction is great, but that can throw people off when they're trying to fight recoil. Not to mention, a headshot still instantly kills you.
Yeah, Pinka's very good, but I...
Say that name again?
What's that?
Say that name again?
Pinka.
Finka. She came out with Lion.
Oh, the one that can, adrenaline shot. Oh,
Nanomachine,
Yeah.
son. You know what, we're gonna stick with... I don't have a 20 round mag. Whatever, anyway! So, I just felt like playing with the M1 carbine, even though it's not the greatest gun in this game. Better than me rolling with the MP40 for the 30th time in a row kind of thing.
It's got an interesting hand grip.
The M1 does?
Carbine, yeah.
Probably an effect of them trying to reduce as much weight as humanly possible on the gun. Because it was a paratrooper gun.
Right.
And then ironically, a lot of the 101st and, or 501st in general just jump with Grands anyway. Like, if you haven't watched it, I really do recommend watching Band of Brothers. It's a pretty good show.
I think I saw a couple episodes. I'm not sure. I don't think I watched all of it. I get distracted easy. Oh, I heard someone arguing that the Steelhound was better for clearing bunkers than the American grenade.
The what?
The German grenade.
The style hand grenade's not that, well, depends on what you're using it for and if it's got a frag sleeve or not and blah blah blah.
I heard the debate I've been hearing is it was a better grenade for tossing into bunkers because of the enclosed space.
Pineapple grenade's gonna fuck up anything inside of an enclosed space really quick. Because an enclosed space, all that shrapnel's bouncing around inside.
Even if you've got the desk to hide behind.
Yeah, it's not a good thing to be in a in a room with a frag grenade going off. Yeah, see, this guy, like, slowly reloading and all this shit drives me nuts, man. It's like, reload the gun like a sane person, motherfucker. Hey, there's a Thompson. Let's take the Thompson.
Clearly you loaded into the one guy that started getting scared, despite rinsing through hordes of Germans.
I'm trying to avoid having to use the same, like, 3 weapons over and over because ammo reasons. Yeah, there is no way in hell he reacted that way to a 30-06 bouncing out his helmet off at that range. Largely because that helmet probably became one with his brain pan for a little few seconds. You guys didn't know helmets generally aren't bulletproof, by the way. They'll deflect bullets if you hit it at a bad angle, but they're not gonna reliably stop a bullet. I think the funniest thing is somebody was testing a helmet on a YouTube channel, and people were like, "Well, why would you wear a helmet then? What's the point of it if it's not bulletproof?" And it's like, because it stops shrapnel and other shit from taking your head clean off. How about that?
Oh, what because it's that one guy reacting to company appearance, seeing the big hole in someone's helmet.
I've also heard it explained. It's also good for morale. The belief that you have some armor rather than none.
No, don't get me wrong, it will deflect a shot, but no soldiers out there is gonna go, oh, it'll stop me.
Besides, wasn't it also a not too uncommon tactic to actually aim artillery at the trees themselves to make brain splinters?
Yeah, no, trust me, the helmets did save lives, it's just not against bullets. For certain satchel charges, that's key. Anyway, I'm not gonna. The museum out there at Fort Bragg actually had a helmet that had a 20mm round stuck in it, where the trooper survived it because it like deflected off the helmet just right and stuck in the helmet instead of taking his head off. And it's like, man, You know that dude thought he was the luckiest motherfucker ever if he stopped a 20mm with his helmet.
I'm pretty sure I would be having a religious experience.
I'm pretty sure anybody would, because 20mm is not a small round. Where the hell am I supposed to go?
You notice after you shot him, his body reacted to physics and bounced again?
Yeah, well, you saw me looking at the pop-in there for a few, too. Okay, so very clearly we're not supposed to run this. Where the hell are we supposed to run to, then? Let's not walk past the landmines here. Hey, could you guys maybe not run in front of the guy trying to line up a shot on the machine gunner? Thanks.
They just keep coming. Just won't stop.
And you know, if I had accidentally popped one of them in the head, I would have lost the mission too, so... Please stop being immune to bullets, thank you. Yeah, see, right here, realistically, that driver's dead.
Since, you know, they don't exactly have glass behind those panels.
His hatch is not down.
That's what I'm saying, like, it drives me nuts that those hatches are up. Nobody in their right mind is going to drive around in combat with that damn hatch up.
It looks like it's pinging off of just empty air.
It's because it is. Should do Medal of Honor Airborne next time, too. That was actually a pretty fun game.
I streamed a little bit of it before, didn't you?
No, I just played it and you were watching. One other thing I can do is if I ever find where I put my capture card, which is not the greatest capture card, but it should work, was Brothers in Arms would be a good one to do, too.
Ace Combat.
I'll probably do Ace Combat 0 first, because I kind of want to play that game again, honestly.
I wonder if I can find an emulator for Big Red 1.
And the other option would be to emulate it and just run it through my computer, because I know that there's a hardware emulator that I can run. I still got the PS2 right here, though.
That game was a lot of fun.
Which one?
Especially the Medal of Honor Big Red 1. There was a scene where we're in one of the bombers, and all the crew is dying, the thing is falling apart, and you're going from station to station operating it. It's very, it was a very effective scene that stuck in my head. Realistic? Probably not, but... How the fuck did they stay alive? That looks
Also,
like
as much high explosive as we're using on these doors, anybody in the immediate area is probably not doing too well. Because concussive force in an enclosed, hard concrete bunker like this is kind of bad for you, too. Can I have more Thompson ammo, please? Anybody? I would like more Thompson ammo, please.
They don't want to drop it for you.
Of course, instead of going...
It'd be far too convenient if they actually had ammunition on them.
Oh, I've actually got plenty of ammo now, so I must have picked some up somewhere.
instead of going into a small room with 3 guys with submachine gun shooting at you, you can just toss like 3 smoke grenades and they then smoke them out. So did the Germans really have netting on their helmets? Like,
Yeah, we did too.
yeah, I'm normally used to seeing that from the Americans. I didn't know the Germans did that as well.
But everyone did, didn't they?
Yeah, because it breaks up your silhouette.
And one of the simplest ways to do it.
Something interesting about camouflage is that all those fancy patterns, most of the time, they're worthless. The best camouflage is rolling around in the dirt for a while.
Which some of the soldiers would actually try to do.
Oh, you're inevitably going to be doing one or the other. I will say I actually am enjoying this mission. It's a good... Other than I'm getting tired of watching them, that exact same surprised look on their face every time I pop a goddamn helmet off. It's a suitably chaotic mission, and I do not like trying to use the scope in that kind of range. Anyway, it's a suitably chaotic mission. I enjoy it.
So you said that the Germans had no air support for D-Day. Is that true for the rest of the campaign here?
Listen up.
More or less.
Everyone's left. Everyone else is either dead or wounded.
We kind of ran train on the Luftwaffe.
But I wouldn't hold my breath until we get German counterattack.
Like, it's kind of crude, but the fact is that the Germans didn't really have much of an air force after.
Take out those Crow teams. Everyone else.
They pissed. Honestly, the Battle of Britain was one of the worst mistakes they made because they pissed away so many aircraft. Oh! We're back to having a sniper rifle. The Springfield. Yep, we're back to having crosshairs too. Neat.
Oh, poor guys.
So I wonder how hard the playtesters had it if they needed to put a hint to center your screen this mission.
Enemy grenade!
So this is towards the end of the game, right?
Yeah, it may not be a playtest. Well, I can see this being kind of rough if you don't hear the warning, hey, you need to go kill all those mortars or whatever. Especially since you have to fight your way through everything to do so.
That's one less gun to worry
I still think it's mighty kind for the mortar teams to get so close that you can shoot them.
To be fair, in this situation at the very least, they are attacking uphill. Like, I can see them having to move closer to that. I don't know how much closer they'd have to move because I don't know what mortars they're using too well. I was trying to get Evil Tim in here because he's got like an encyclopedic knowledge of guns. But I'm just kind of a nerd about guns instead of encyclopedia.
My knowledge is just technical manuals and whatever I managed to pick up. Spotty.
Oh, those aren't friendlies. I'm paying attention, I swear.
I don't blame you. Their uniforms look a lot alike this game.
I really don't like how many grenades are in this goddamn game. Anyway.
But I mean, doesn't every soldier have like 3 grenades on them at all times, if not more?
At least it's... Oh, fuck off, game. He is not gonna hold his head and look at his lack of helmet when I pop it. Anyway, at least it's not Clear Skies where the Ukrainian shot put team was reliably, like, hitting you from 400 meters out with a hand grenade. Which, to be fair, is the first time I had to mod a Stalker game to actually beat it. Because I kept running into enemies that would reliably shoot me from 6 miles out, and by shoot, I mean... They would throw a grenade at me, and I'd get the grenade indicator about half a second before they blew me up.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very avoidable to me.
It generally wasn't. Because Stalker gets you into the mindset of, hey, let's not have a fair fight and fight from like 8 miles out.
I tried playing that without cheating, but it's hard.
Stalker? Why would you play that without shooting something?
Clearly in order to stab them instead.
No, I mean,
To be
I tried
fair...
playing without cheating.
Oh, hey, it's not that hard without cheating. To be fair, though, the knife does do as much damage as the railgun, and you can kill tanks with it in the first game. It's one of the dumber parts of it. As much as I like the game, I'm not gonna...
I don't think I played anyone with a tank.
Guys, artillery's... This trench isn't gonna help me if artillery hits. Like, if the artillery hits inside the trench or here, I'm dead one way or the other.
Yeah, planks of wood is not gonna stop me. I'd laugh so hard if, like, the smoke cleared away and you just saw Germans banging into trees and things like that. Just clunk. Ow! Scheiße!
Anyhow, I am going to hop channel. It's been a while and I've got a couple of other people asking for me again. So,
Okay. Well,
Yeah, cheers for sticking
it's
around.
been good. Have a good one.
Later.
And farewell to the people that are watching, because it looks like there's a few.
You were listening surprisingly solid.
yeah.
Now if only they would speak to us.
I don't know, we're doing enough talking as it is. I'm not rambling as much as I was yesterday, I'm slightly more awake.
maar nee, sniper rifle doesn't cut it, eh?
Oh,
Just blow everything up. They give you a lot of rocket.
oh, fuck off, game. I hate that, like, every goddamn soldier in this game just immediately chucks their grenades at you. Also, no half-track is going to survive a Panzer Truck hit like that. Let's just be honest with you, game. I'm gonna find out that's a Stug, and the Stug's also not gonna survive that many hits, but we're not gonna get into that. Guys, can you please get out of my way? Thank you.
I sincerely doubt it's Stu. I mean, they have what, 2 vehicle models in here?
I know, I'm just being sarcastic.
Half-track coming up the west slope!
Guys, it's a half-track. Chuck a grenade in the back and laugh. Oh, why hello there. I'm defeating you here. Nope, no more ammo on that. Do you have ammo? Thank you.
Too bad you don't have any,
That was not my intention there.
too bad you don't have any, rifle-fired grenades.
Speaking of, question, are rifle-fired grenades still in modern use?
Yeah, they're called 203s. Not in the way that we used them in this game. Or
I was
this
about to
war.
say, those are underslung grenade launchers, no?
Yeah, I was being sarcastic again. No, you did see how these were actually fired, right? Like, they load a blank shell into them. If I remember right, the German one had a bad habit of blowing the grenade up in their barrel. Was it the German one or the...
5 minutes! Gather weapons and ammo! Reload your weapons!
One of the rifle grenades was not a good idea.
Reinforcements in 5! Hang in there!
Where is that carbine I saw? I want to play with that some more. That's not a carbine.
The rifle grenade would make this fight a lot, it may be interesting in this fight.
It's a pain in the ass to do, especially with the Garand, because you have to have the setup for it. You have to do pop out the ammo, load it in, load up the blank, fire the grenade off.
Everyone get together! Move! Get together! Wait for the barrage to lift! Hold your cover!
Pew 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 pew.
Oh my god, I'm looking this up, and apparently in the 1960s they kept making them, and it's just like an RPG rocket stuck onto a rifle barrel.
Which one? Because I know the American one looked kind of funny.
The Belgian one, I think. Let's see, M31 heat rifle grenade. Thanks,
Is-
amateur. To replace the Belgian Energia rifle grenade.
Cover me! I'm reloading!
According to Wikipedia, today there is a return to the concept of a rifle grenade, such as the Simon Breeze grenade, the IMI Refam, FN Herstal Tilton, and the Japanese Type 06 advanced grenades. So yeah, apparently we do still use them.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I can't imagine why. It sounds like a more complicated system than I understand.
Probably a lot cheaper. Apparently apparently US still uses them as well.
What version? Because I'm kind of curious.
There's a video of it now on Discord, but It looks like someone entered a film on at the front of an M4 or M16, and it's just a breach charge on a stick put on a rifle barrel.
It might exactly be that, just a breach charge to breach a building with.
Well, and then you get the master key, which is the same idea. Which is a great name for a shotgun on the end of your gun, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Opens every door.
I would like to kill tank, please.
No, thank you.
Oh, yes it does, because it's actually got a much faster turret than it should. Hey, game, I got an idea. Maybe, hear me out, maybe don't spawn me right in front of a bunch of enemies. Okay, so before I wasn't sure if Ken really had any tigers or anything like that. I know for a fact we weren't going to see that many tigers here.
Well, this is the 4th.
It's like the 6th or 7th or something like that, yeah. Alright, there we go. Wasn't there another tank? You know, I'd make a joke about them driving the Tigers up into close quarters against infantry, but that's how Michael Whitman died. It was generally who most Wehrabus considered like the best tanker of the war. Dumb shit drove it in an open field without any infantry support and got popped by a 17 pounder.
Can't be worse than the story of the Dutch tank. Yes, the one singular tank we had.
I don't know, losing a World War I era light tank isn't quite the same as losing a Tiger tank.
Stupidity behind it is still similar. Like, oh yeah, let's show off how we need tanks in the future. You know, just so the war council decides to shell up some money. And it's gone. Dove it into a ditch. Can't get it out anymore.
Oh my god, P-51s! Well, where's our P-47s with the ground support? Why is it P-51s? Where's our P-47s? Why, no, or whatever. I know the real answer, but I'm not gonna... Oh, that's a captain.
Guardian Angels, McCluskey. P-51 Mustangs, and not a blessed moment too soon. Great job, guys. You did it.
Did these die the exact same way? No, they didn't. What the hell is he aiming at? Alright.
Did the German officers really go into battle without any kind of hard hat or anything at all?
March 7th, 1945.
A couple people
In
did.
an extraordinary turn of events, a single bridge across the Rhine River is captured intact by the U.S.
Because
9th
I see it
Armored
killing
Division.
a lot of them that just have the
German
cap.
forces desperately establish new pockets of defense along the length of the Rhine River in an effort to slow the Allies' advance. Then, on March 24th, a massive assault is unleashed by Allied airborne divisions to secure positions east of the Rhine. At the same time, at various points up and down the river, more Allied forces prepare to make their own crossings into the heart of Germany.
Okay. Parts of the K ration, some M1 ammo. Actually, that might not even be an M1, that might be ammo from something else, because that's a stripper clip, not the magazine. A stolen Iron Cross, a matchbook, that's not quite the right matchbook, a weird looking ID card, and a 1911. I've never actually stopped to look at what all the garbage is on here. Is this supposed to be a 30? Oh yeah, it is 1919. For some reason I was thinking this was a 50, and it's like, you know, we should just be shutting, like, doing the lawnmower thing.
The crowds have mined the riverbank! We can't go any further! Hey, Cloud! I'll piss on you in hell! It's an MG-42! Everyone out of the air-truck! We're setting ducks in here! Okay, looks like the crowds want to play hardball!
How? Game? Okay. I'm kind of disappointed they don't give you more ammo for, like, your own equipment.
Come on, throw your smoke grenade! Put up a screen! Enemy infantry! On the far side of that smash wall!
And they really want you using smoke grenades in this game, and just like, fuck that, just kill everybody.
They could have also just made it so that you could get ammo from your allies, which would have been nice.
Hey guys, this seems... oh, never mind, there's a friendly there. Hey, this seems safe, right? Ooh, that's not something I wanted in there. No. There it is.
Other side of the crate! To the north! Grenade! Leg die Arme des Schwertes hoch! Bei den Vorderrays! By the crates! Over to the west!
And we gotta move across here. I actually am not sure which, like, part of the... like, I know we're on the Rhine, I know late war. I'm not sure of the accuracy of this mission in the slightest. I apologize, no. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Rangers didn't push across a river and murder a bunch of Germans. After all that effort of grabbing the scope weapon, I'm not going to even use the damn thing. Fucking grenade spam. I'm not the only one that kind of feels like I'm always crouched even when I'm not, am I?
You are not the only one.
Because I keep thinking, that's why you see me jump occasionally, it's like, am I crouched still?
Definitely not the only one on that. Which is weird because having it down to a T on how it should look like when you're moving in FPS is not a new art in that era.
I don't know, people still get it wrong these days. They either move too much or too little and things like that, even now, so I'm not...
Over by that car! To the northwest!
Not too fast.
Yeah.
To the crates! To the northeast! West! Hey, cover me! I gotta reload! Finding enemy infantry! Over by that car! Cut him down! Man down!
In diesem zerstörten Gebäude! Angriff! Angriff!
Over by that car! To the northwest! Grab a frag grenade!
I'm gonna die here, yep. Just too many goddamn grenades. It's one of those things where there's a reason you don't see a lot of video games doing it, is because it's just frustrating to the player.
Takes away your ability to move freely.
Well, in a game like this where there's a ton of enemies who all focus on you as soon as you stick your head out and they prioritize you over your buddies, it's kind of frustrating when you're forced out of cover reliably. I mean, yeah, okay, that's what frag grenades are supposed to be for, but it's a video game. Yeah, hold on.
Get your butt over
Sorry, I was giving symmetry shit. He's like, oh my god, you're playing Call of Duty! Fuck it, if you're gonna give me shit, come join us.
I mean, they'll always play too.
Oh, he's going to bed, pansy ass. Not even listening, so I can't give him shit over stream either.
Just came in here to call you.
Oh, well, I was giving you shit. I don't know if you heard any of it.
He still got stream open, most likely.
Does he? No, I didn't see that. He'd have been a good one in here because he's actually got a pretty good knowledge of this shit too.
I'll invite him next time as well.
Ow. Hey, I'm being shot.
I'm sorry, I'm not much help.
No, that's fine. He and I randomly bullshit about history things anyway, so... Matter of fact, he's actually one of the mods on Shit Wereaboo say now. God damn it. That was my fault.
It's the first time I've heard that actual phrase. I've heard of Weeaboo,
Wereaboo, the German army was undefeatable.
It's exactly what you think it is.
A source of comedy. Please let me back up, thank you.
Question is whether it's a bigger cult than Star Citizen cult or no.
Yes, but that's only because... No, I don't know. No, we joke about it, but if you look up the cult checklist, like, Star Citizen hits all but like 3 of them. It's pretty funny.
Got the entire bingo card right down.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Speaking of which, if anybody's looking for a different source of, you know, comedy and garbage, Sunk Cost Galaxy is a pretty good series.
The what galaxies?
Sunk Cost Galaxy. It's Bucha. He's one of the he was one of the investors actually, not like actual investors.
Rather
And
than the Kickstarters.
yeah, well, he did money there too. He was present in a lot of the early Star Citizen stuff though, and he pulled out.
So do you think Star Citizen is ever going to release?
Oh wait, you're serious? That's an actual question. No, I don't.
If Gaita gets their way, which honestly, legally they should,
Even if it does release, it's not going to be the game that was promised, and it's probably going to score like 3s or 4s on Bing. The game runs like shit.
it's gonna be a more expensive Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is now. It's damn close to being a vaporware.
Thanks, I'll stick to my Elite Dangerous.
See, that game's boring as shit too, but whatever.
But it's an actual game.
But at least you can play it and it keeps getting content.
Rebel Galaxy Outlaws is going to be the one I'm looking forward to, just because it looks like they're trying to have fun with it rather than trying to be, grindy, grognard assholes kind of thing. Alright, I'll take over.
I want to try Rebel Galaxy myself.
It's supposed to be pretty good, but there's also some boring parts to it, in that, like, all you have to do is cruise up and broadside people. Outlaw's more like Freelancer. And if you watch their trailer takes a lot of pot shots at Star Citizen, actually. One of the ships is the USS JPEG or something like that, and some other shit. Like, everybody's taking the piss on them now. Best source of comedy I've seen in a long time. Beyond that, I am so glad I stayed out of it. I had a goon friend that was talking about how great it was going to be, and I remember asking him, like, hey man, who's the one making the game? And he goes, oh, it's going to be Chris Roberts. And it's like, I know that name. Guy that made Wing Commander, right? And he goes, yeah. And I said, no, I'm out. Like, but Wing Commander was great. And I said, yeah, but he got frog marching of every company he was ever part of because he could never deliver a product on time or on budget.
And because he didn't actually make that much from Wing Commander, was he?
He made parts of 1. I think my favorite story about 1 is they couldn't figure out how to get the game to stop crashing on exit, so they changed the crash message from "this game has crashed" to "thank you for playing Wing Commander."
Unfortunately, that would be the first thing I've seen.
Oh no, like, it's especially back then. I'm not gonna give them too much shit there. But it doesn't change that it's still kind of a funny. Yeah, I remember him talking about it, and I had never heard of Star Citizen up to that point. I hadn't even read the Star Citizen thread on the forums. And he was talking about how they were spending like hundreds of dollars on JPEGs. And it's just like, nope, definitely avoiding this shit. I'm trying to Elite Dangerous. Like, the game, some of the flight mechanics and stuff are interesting. I don't want to grind all the garbage out.
Yeah, it is very grindy. I think it's got serious problems. I just want to make the point of the game is actually released. If it's this instead of a pipe dream, that may or may not happen.
Uh-oh, it's another tiger. It really is another goddamn tiger. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm sorry, it's 2 tigers. Oh, alright. Don't try and get clever and, like, do anything neat.
Burr.
I think Buck's weapons are not as good as Zelda's.
Ow, 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 ow. Alright. Oh, that's not a friendly again. For fuck's sake. So this is probably not the way they wanted you to do this section, because they keep talking about using the Flak 88s, but it's like, you know what, fuck that. Hey, you're talking about the British accents not really being that different. What about American accents? Like, you don't really hear...
Texan, Boston, don't hear... Georgian.
Oh. What the fuck am I hitting?
Enemy troops! By the crates! Take out their infantry! Germans in the open! Hey, cover me! I can't reload! Aufdeckung, lade nach! Mann am Boden!
Well then, alright.
Looks like this town is
He just suddenly died.
Down company! Assemble at the rally point! Let's go!
Can't complain about that, surely.
Yeah, I don't mind too much. Which version Tiger is this, I wonder? Probably one of the late war ones. Yeah, so when you're talking about the Tiger tank, a lot of the time you would want to aim right here, which is actually why you see the track there, as they're trying to cover up that weak spot. Because it's pretty thin, and there's the drivetrain right there, where if you hit it with the... they found that generally if you hit it with armor piercing, it would generally catch the tank on fire. Fun fact.
Damn fine job, you guys.
Like, from
We
a
took
tank
on the
armor
best
piercing?
troops Germany had to offer.
What's that?
Sent 'em running for their
Like an
mamas
armor
up and
piercing
down
around
the
from the
Rhine.
tank?
Yeah.
Proud to serve with you men. You're all good rangers, that's for damn sure. Sergeant Randall, one more thing. I don't know about the gentleman part, but how'd you like to be an officer? I'm offering you a field commission as a lieutenant. Good leaders are hard to come by. What do you say?
Well, I'd be honored, sir. But the thing is, we'd be short a sergeant. Corporal Taylor here, he might be worth looking at.
This is super goddamn cheesy.
Lieutenant, see to your men. Dismissed.
April 16th, 1945.
At T-3485s, IS-2,
Berlin, the capital city of Nazi
smoke and fire,
500,000 soldiers
Max and machine guns.
alike perish in a terrible battle that lasts for nearly 3 weeks. As the Allied forces converge on Berlin from both east and west, the Nazi leadership begins to crumble under the weight of imminent defeat. On the 8th of May, 1945, the German armed forces surrender unconditionally to the Allies. At a cost of 50 million deaths, the war in Europe is finally over.
You had horses, what were you thinking?
Europe Day is officially celebrated, marking the defeat of Nazi Germany and the fall of the Third Reich.
And that's Call of Duty 2. We're doing World at War tomorrow, and I don't remember much of World War at all, and that I only played the multiplayer briefly while I was hanging out with a friend.
I'm curious to see more of the game. It's been way too long and it was actually kind of fun.
Well, Evil Tim and a couple of other people have all said that it's actually a pretty decent campaign, so... I know that they actually kind of show that the Soviets weren't exactly good guys and things like that. This is a reference to the first game, 'cause I'm pretty sure this is how the first game ended too, where you had the guy running around. Ha! Well, the world's blindest German. It's nice of them to give the blind man a job as a gate guard.
Yeah, and I think he's also a bit deaf. So not being quiet with the ladder.
Oh, apparently they're rescuing Captain Price.
That's the guy from Modern Warfare 1?
He was in Call of Duty 1 as well, and in this game, he was the British captain who kept... Wait, what the fuck just happened there? I'm gonna have to, like, watch this on my, the replay, because I don't know what the fuck just happened.
Well, where they slapped him. Oh. Yeah, it looked like he was trying to melee him with the rifle butts within the frame.
He's clearly a Siege player.
Yep. Just been camping now, waiting for someone to tear down the barricade.
What the hell's going on here?
I don't know, it's getting a bit foggy. Nobody knows what's going on.
Special thanks to Melissa Burkhart, I don't know, American Society of Military History, Long Mountain Outfitters. So a couple of people there helping out with uniform accuracy and things like that, I guess. I'm not surprised you didn't see Captain Dale die in here, because he's in, like, everything involved in World War II. And, like, the 90th Tiger in the war that... Oh, bullshit, that Tiger is not catching up to a fucking scout car, guys. At least this is... something.
We missing the laugh track?
I'm just imagining Wacky Race's music.
I'm hearing some Benny Hill music here. Oh, fuck off! Anyway. Does Superman pop out? Of course, you know, Captain Price is an immortal lord of doom, so, I mean, makes it all the way from World War II all the way up to, like, World War IV.
Surely they're different people.
But at least they were having fun with the credits, I guess. And what was it, about 6 hours? I think we skipped some of the British missions, though. I just don't remember where we stopped there.
It is a rather short game.
Most shooters are. You're talking 8 to 12 hours on average. I think we beat this one in like 6, though. I'm sure part of that was me just like ignoring the game's intention and just running straight forward into the enemy lines with a machine gun. So, we're gonna let this run to the end credits here, guys. Like I said, we'll be doing World at War tomorrow. I don't know what time. But we're done for the night after the credits here. So, thanks for showing up. Hope you guys had fun, and like, feel free to come bullshit at us. Yell at us in chat, we'll respond.
Yeah, no, and thanks for streaming as well. It was nice seeing the game again.
Yeah, I wanted to play this game again. I bought it a while ago because I was going to let's play it, and I hate editing videos, so...
I'll be off
So
tomorrow,
just gonna stream.
So I'll be happy to show up for World War tomorrow.
It's not necessarily that I hate editing videos, it's just... At the same time, when, like... Activision... when I was doing Homefront, I think I spent like 4 or 5 hours per episode for like half an hour episode because I was editing, sound balancing, and all that other garbage, and even then that was kind of a pain in the ass.
And then the episode still broke.
Yeah, well, I'm so disappointed I accidentally deleted some of my buggy footage where I had like a enemy Humvee 50 feet in the air upside down shooting at me and things like that. You know what? That's not gonna work. As I say, I'm almost tempted to see if I can...
Well, to see if you could squeeze a mission in.
No, I was gonna see if there was anybody still playing multiplayer, but I'm not that worried about it. So, let's see.
Didn't multiplayer have a separate launcher?
Yeah, it does. That was part of the reason I was like, yeah, screw it. I'd have to probably reset up the stream for it. I was just looking at the fact that you don't play the same guy all the time here. And then you... Sergeant John Davis. Oh, you're Corporal Bill Taylor for most of this, at least, though. I was kind of surprised to see so many beards and things like that, because generally the reason you don't see a lot of beards and mustaches and things like that is gas masks.
And half of that crew just seems unshaven, as in they didn't get a chance to. Which I thought that the military was actually kinda stiff on.
Oh, you know what? There is one thing we're gonna do before I go. I'm gonna see if I can find... Let's see if I can find some stuff. And we're not talking like the huge 122 from like the Soviets and things like that. We're talking 75mm, 76mm, 105, which is artillery as well, so not as much that. But let's see. This one is photo bucket, which means it's not going to be able to cooperate with me. All right. Let's see if that qualifies. That did not. Alright, second. We'll just do it that way. So there's one of the images right there that I was talking about where you can see it's kind of shattered inward. Kind of a battle report thing after the fact. Let's see if I can find some of the other ones.
Yeah, I got the one.
Is it kind of like the one that Trey put up earlier?
Who put up earlier?
Okay.
Yeah, a bunch of pictures in Discord. From rifle grenades to the shattered armor.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that. Linked one of the better ones there, actually. Because you can see where they've like scribbled 17-pounder for the holes and things like that.
What kind of armor hit it? Or what kind of guns hit it?
Yeah, that's one of those situations where they're like, yeah, we're pretty sure this is from the 17-pounder kicking it in, but... I want to try and find the other stuff, though. Because there's one really interesting one where it's... Oh, there's that, too. Ferdinand. Anyway, look into it. It's pretty fascinating stuff. HE Rounds did a number on a lot of armor back then, but particularly German and Soviet armor. The Germans, because their metallurgy was bad. The Soviets, because the Soviets actually hardened their armor trying to minimize the amount of damage it was going to do.
So, quick question. Is that a kind of issue that's been plaguing tanks throughout the Cold War as well, or did they actually manage to improve it before the end of it?
When you're talking Cold War tanks, they've usually got a spall liner.
Hey, what?
Called spall lining. Soft material, often aramid or glass fiber that is mounted in the crew compartment of the vehicle. A spall liner serves to prevent fragments generated during an impact from being accelerated towards the occupant of the vehicle. I was kind of talking about it earlier, that it's just a way to try and protect the crew.
Yeah, a bit of a safe net for the crew.
Wish you could figure out why OBS wasn't capturing images so you guys would at least have something to look at. I apologize, but...
I saw the browser image for one moment at least, but that was a browser.
Yeah, and well, you know, we can put that up for now. Is that... Oh, that's actually a good video. We'll use this. Alright, so we'll just turn on capture here. So yeah, there's the spall liner right there. You can kind of see what's happening where it's catching stuff and throwing it in and everything like that.
So it's not even as much as a safe net as much as padding?
Pretty much. It's, I mean, you're talking stuff like flak jackets or whatever, or Kevlar and things like that. Just an attempt to protect the crew.
The crew, which should be fairly invaluable.
Yep, and that's about it. If you guys have any questions, just direct message me on YouTube or here or wherever. I'll try to answer when we're doing World at War tomorrow. I don't know how many people are actually still watching. My viewer count kind of like looks weird.
About 4 people.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Still, tomorrow, history class with Neb playing World at War.
Yep, and then after World at War, I was going to do Black Ops, because I haven't actually played through Black Ops, and it's supposed to be pretty good, and I do have some passing knowledge of the Cold War. So it'll be something to... What's that?
I said Black Ops will get a little bit silly.
I'm not
It's a good
surprised.
fun game, but
Alright, well, anyway, have a good night, guys. Thanks for showing up.
and cheers for the scene.